now. Now. Clerk Waddick, if you are ready to go, and it is 7:30 p.m., we will begin the meeting.
All right. I am ready, Mr. President.
Okay. Waltham City Council will meet remotely on Monday evening, December 28, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. The meeting can be followed by the public on the City of Waltham YouTube channel. It also can be followed on the Waltham Community Access Corporation MAC channel. Verizon subscribers, the meeting can be followed on channel 43. For Comcast subscribers, the meeting can be followed on 98. RCN subscribers, the meeting can be followed on channel 15. Clerk, call the roll.
For the City Council, George A. Darcy III,
Present.
Karen Dunn, Sean T. Durkee,
Present.
Kathy Ann Harris,
Present.
Joseph P. LaCava,
Present.
Anthony LaFosse,
Present.
Randall J. LeBlanc,
Present.
Christine A. Mackin,
Present.
John J. McLaughlin,
Present.
Kathleen B. McMenamin,
Present.
Patrick J. O'Brien, Jonathan Paz,
Present.
Thomas M. Stanley, Carlos A. Vidal,
Present.
President Paul J. Brasco.
Present. I see here, Clerk Waddick, that Councilor Dunn is online.
All right.
Councilor Dunn and Councilor Stanley both are online. They may have been muted.
All right. I will mark them present. So we have 14 present, and I did not hear a response from Councilor O'Brien, although I believe he will be present since he has two resolutions filed for this evening, Mr. President. So,
The clerk would call the members of the Board of Survey and Planning.
Board of Survey and Planning, M. Justin Barrett,
Present.
Kathleen Callahan,
Present.
Chairman William Creanti,
Present.
S. Anthony DeVito, Wayne Kiefner,
Present.
Brian Maroney,
Present.
Mila Torallo. 5 members from the Board of Survey and Planning responding as present.
All rise while the city clerk recites the council prayer.
Almighty God, we ask thy guidance in all our deliberations. Please remain standing while the City Council President leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ask that all remain standing. In a moment of silence, Councilor Randy LeBlanc.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to ask for a moment of silence for all of our troops and our veterans home and abroad, and especially for those that have given the ultimate sacrifice with their life.
You may be seated. This meeting is being transmitted live on the Waltham City of Waltham YouTube channel and on the Waltham Community Access Corporation MAC channel. The approval of the minutes of the December 14th, 2020 meeting. Wish of the committee with regards to the meeting.
So moved.
Councilor Blank makes a motion to accept the minutes. On the motion to accept the minutes, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose or object?
Aye.
There being none, the minutes are approved. Council Blank makes a motion to waive the reading of Rule 86, which can't really apply because the meeting is being televised and broadcast on Zoom. Motion to waive the reading of Rule 86. All in favor say aye.
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 Oppose or object? Clerk, call the first public hearing.
Public hearing zoning amendment. Notice is hereby given that the City Council and the Board of Survey and Planning will hold a joint public hearing on Monday, December 28th, 2020 at 7:30 PM on the following proposed amendment to the zoning ordinance. An ordinance amending Chapter 21 of the General Ordinances of the City of Waltham entitled Zoning. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Waltham as follows. Chapter 21 of the General Ordinances of the City of Waltham entitled Zoning is most recently amended is hereby further amended as follows. Article 3, Section 3.4 Table of Uses and the subsection captioned Tea Shop is hereby amended by deleting the following. Tea Shop, Residence A1N, Residence A2N, Residence A3N, Residence A4N, Residence BN, Residence CN, Residence DN, HR1, HR2, BA, business A, no, business B, no, business C, Y1, limited commercial, Y1, commercial, industrial N, conservation recreation N, use reference 3.228B, and replacing it with the following. Tea shop, residence A1N, residence A2N, residence A3, and residence A4, and residence B, and residence C, and residence D, and HR1N, HR2N, business A, Y1, business B, Y1, business C, Y1, limited commercial Y1, commercial Y1, industrial Y1, conservation recreation N, use reference 3.228B.
Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the proposal, please state your name and address for the record.
Mr. President,
Councilor LaCava, you have the floor.
this is Council LaCava, 11 Kenmore Terrace, Waltham. Thank you for taking the time here, members of the Board of Survey and Planning. Thank you as well for being here with us. So this came to me as the councilor from Linden Circle reached out. There's a restaurant owner, Sean Zhang, who owns Hakata Ramen, was looking to open a bubble tea shop next door. He signed a multi-year lease. Only after that, when he went to get building permits, he found out that what he thought would be a regular restaurant wasn't allowed next to his other restaurant in Waltham. Seemed pretty confusing to him. He reached out and we've kind of went through the works, and I know people in the clerk's office helped as well, just to kind of point out the fact that tea shops were not allowed in certain zones that most restaurants are able to. So this is pretty straightforward. We're just hoping to change the table of uses to allow tea shops to do business where most all other restaurants are allowed in this city. What I will point out is this doesn't allow fast food restaurants to go anywhere in the city. This does not change the terminology of fast food restaurants or do anything of the sort to change what is currently allowed by them. Why we chose to go this route was quite simple. As talking with the owners of this restaurant who wish to open this shop, turning them into a cafe, so other certain areas just weren't part of their business plan, not what they had budgeted for. And we found that if we're going to change this, let's make it right throughout the city. These are people who are hoping to open a restaurant, invest in the city at a time where we're going to see a lot of vacant storefronts coming up. And we want nothing more than to help people who are looking to open a business in this city. We found what was maybe an oversight in previous zoning amendments, and we're hoping to change that this evening. So as I said, this is as straightforward as it looks and it sounds, and I do believe others may want to speak tonight, and I am happy to answer further questions either tonight or in committee later this evening. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the proposal, please state your name and address, residential address for the record. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the proposal?
Council President.
Councilor Randy LeBlanc, you're speaking in favor of it as not as a petitioner at the moment, correct?
That is correct. So
Councilor LeBlanc, you have the floor.
thank you very much, Mr. President. So I want to just mirror what the councilor from Ward 5 said, that the petitioner, Sean Zhang, had reached out to myself, let me know that he had signed a multi-year lease in a space, just so everyone is aware, it was the old, the popcorn store that was there. Great little store, didn't make the current times and situation. And I think, we got to keep up with the times in our zoning. And if you drive around, I think the only stores right now that have a line in front of them are the bubble tea shops. So if we're gonna, try to stay cutting edge or keep things alive, keep as many businesses in the stores as we can and keep them full. As the councilor said, it's pretty cut and dry, and it is what it is. So I appreciate all the work he did on it. I reached out to him, and he was very in favor, and hopefully we can get this straightened out. So thank you, Mr. President, and the councilor from Ward 5.
Thank you, Councilor LeBlanc. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the proposal, please state your name and address for the record. And I believe we have on the line on a phone, Mr. Zhang and possibly Mr. Wu. Would you like to address the matter?
Hi, this is Sean Zen. So I'm the owner of Hakata Ramen. I took over the space about 4 months ago. So we've been trying to get approval to open a tea shop. You really helped for us to open a business there. We can create some jobs for the city, and hopefully we can, help the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Zhang. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the proposal? Mrs. Zhang, can we please, again, can you state your name and address for the record, just so that the city clerk can have that?
Yep, my name is Sean Zen. I'm at 895 Main Street.
Thank you, Mrs. Zhang. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the proposal, please state your name and address for the record. There being none, is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the proposal? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the proposal? There are no parties on the line wishing to speak in opposition to the proposal. Anyone wishing to speak in a neutral capacity, seeking only information from the council or the petitioner with regards to this proposal in a neutral capacity? There being none, close that part of the public hearing, open the public hearing up to questions by councilors. Questions by councilors.
Mr. President, this is Councilor at Large Carlos Vidal. I have a question.
Councilor Vidal, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you for Councilor LaCava for bringing this in front of us tonight. A question: as you are the main person driving this zoning amendment, are you aware if this particular tea shop or any upcoming tea shops? I know bubble tea shops don't usually have any baked goods. Would this tea shop have baked goods, or is this something that is not gonna? The only business will be bubble tea, I guess. That's my question.
Yeah, Councilor Vidal, thank you. So that was, we had asked that question, hoping to categorize them as a bakery, something that was allowed in the zone they're currently in. Their business model does not call for any items, any baked items, anything they could prepare on site, which is a key proponent. They had mentioned they would be more than happy to bring in some packaged muffins and put them on the counter, knowing that would not suffice. Their business model does not include bringing in any more equipment to prepare items on site. Therefore, that's why we had to stay with the tea shop classification, and we went the route we're going.
Okay, great. Thank you for the clarification. That's all my questions. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Vidal.
Thank you, Council Vidal. First time around, Council Harris.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, through you to the counselor from Ward 5 or the counselor from Linden Circle. So just to be clear, I believe that there may be other questions from other counselors, but what you're looking to do here tonight, and I know you said this in your opening comments, you're not changing the definition of a tea room / tea shop that is defined in Chapter 3, Section 22, 8B as stated in the beginning, correct? The tea shop definition is staying the same. You're simply applying that definition to be allowable in different business districts. Is that correct, Councilor?
Yes, that is correct, Councilor. Thank you. We are not changing any definitions. We are just changing the table of uses for the tea shop.
Okay, so that definition would apply, and I think this applies to the counselor from Ash Street's question. And then my second follow-up question is, this was clearly outlined. The Board of Survey and Planning may have questions, but I just want to get this into the public record before it is referred to committee. And I'm assuming this will go to rules and ordinances. But I just, in comparing what you're really trying to accomplish here, just so that it's in layman's terms to the public at large or anybody who might have additional public comment, is you're really looking to bring in this T definition, which currently is not allowed in business A, business B, and some of the other business districts. You're just looking to extend that, correct? Because today it is allowable in business C, and that's where we see several tea shops on the lower part of Moody Street. Could you speak to that, please?
Yes, thank you. That is correct. We are just trying to give them the same opportunity that we give most of our other food establishments in the city, although that not including the fast food restaurants that are defined as fast food. So we believe that tea shops, and especially the bubble tea, which is, as the counselor from Linden Circle had stated, it is a new craze, and they are creating jobs and they're creating revenues for this city. We think it's a shame that they wouldn't be allowed to go into business A, business B, limited commercial. You know, it makes no sense, and we're looking to write that. Again, these we're only allowing them where other restaurants are allowed at this point. They're not going near residences or any of such things.
Thank you very much, Councilor. Through you again, Mr. President, to Councilor from Ward 5, you're fielding the questions here, so I'll direct these to you. So as I look at the comparison of the two definitions in the table of uses, you're looking to, currently it's allowable in business C and in limited commercial. What you're looking to do in this change in the table of uses is expand it to business A, business B, commercial, and the industrial zones in the city. You're not looking to impact any of the residential areas. It is purely an extension of the commercial zoning for business, allowable both in business A, business B, commercial, industrial. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, those are my questions. Just in terms of the petitioner that's before us here tonight, that, you know, I just want to make sure I understand. He went forward. Where is this located in the city where this particular petitioner is interested in going into? Can you share that, where he signed a lease?
Main
Yeah, so
Street.
it's right next to his current location where the Hakata Ramen is, I believe 895, and he's just moved. It's two storefronts down to the west.
Okay.
For those who don't know the actual numbers, it's across the street from Gordon's Liquors, for lack of a better location. Some may identify to that better. So, you know, you're in a commercial zone. There's business all over that place, and there's a lot of foot traffic. It's a perfect place for a business of this magnitude. And it was, you know, when it was brought to my attention that it's not zoned for that, you know, after speaking with the clerk's office and people from the building department, it was quite clear that we needed to fix this.
And Councilor, thank you very much for clarifying that. And then for answering my questions, but one more thing I just wanted to say is, prior to this petitioner taking up this lease, this particular storefront was empty on one of our main streets in the city of Waltham. Is that correct?
Correct.
Well, I appreciate you bringing this forward. I think it's important to get out that this is a table of uses change, which is an application of a current definition that's already implemented in our business districts, and it's an extension of that. So I appreciate that clarification as we go into committee. Thank you both, councilors.
Thank you.
Nothing further, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Harris. First time around, Councilor Durkee.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to thank Sean. His restaurant is down the street from where I live. I'm appreciative of him bringing jobs to the ward in the city, and I look forward to patronizing his place of business again. So thank you. I just want to thank everyone.
Thank you, Councilor Durkee. First time around, Vice President McMillan.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I have two questions. The first question is, excuse me, do we have any idea how many tea shops currently exist in the city?
Well, Madam Dean, if you're going strictly tea shops, I believe there's only one. If you include bubble tea, which is the new craze, I believe there have been two that have been added to Moody Street in the last year.
So that leads me to my next question, because I am looking in the zoning book. I found it's not in the index, which is quite interesting. I can't find anything in the index that says tea. But excuse me, in the zoning code, with a number of uses under arcades, commercial recreation facilities, kennels, small athletic facilities, electronic game centers, retail gas stations, restaurants, microbreweries, and then tea room, tea shop, which is 3.228B. So I read the definition as it exists here. And since I really am very ignorant of what a bubble tea shop is through the chair, through the president to Mr. Zhang, could you describe what a bubble tea shop is, such as yours is, please?
Mrs. Zhang, can you answer that question?
So boba tea, it's a tea infused drink. So it's basically adding tea, fruit serums, and some called boba, which is jelly made out of some kind of starch. I'm not sure about what kind of starch. I'll do my research on that. And my partner is more will know it better. So Andy can talk about it.
Hi, this is Andy. So the boba tea is it's like an infused tea with you put fruit juices, green tea, red tea, black tea, and you can mix them with like different toppings made of jelly. So the boba is actually a tapioca pearl.
So Andy, could you give us your name and address, since you've participated in this? Are you a part owner in this endeavor?
Yes. So my name's Andy Wu. It's 895 Main Street.
Actually, I think it's supposed to be a residential address. Do you live at 895 Main?
No, the restaurant is at 895 Main, Hakata Ramen.
Well, I'd like your residential address, please.
It's 55 Everett Street in Everett, Massachusetts.
Thank you. Now, my next question, basically, this is all very interesting, but basically, and it is a craze, I do know that, but basically, looking at the definition here, it talks about, do you serve your tea at tables?
No, it's to go.
I think through you, Mr. Chair, I think something needs to be looked at in terms of the 3.22B. This is to the chair of the Rules and Ordinances Committee. In order to accommodate that circumstance, there may be the need to insert some language for that ability, because this really talks about provided that it must be served at tables by waiters or waitresses. So I think you need to take a look at that. The next question I have has to do with food. Mr. Zhang, do you intend to serve food as well as bubble tea?
We do not intend to serve food.
So only tea?
Only tea.
Okay, and can I ask us, and you're on one, I know where you are on Main Street. Are you in the popcorn shop?
Yes, that would be the location.
Oh,
the
okay,
popcorn shop.
so what's the square footage of your facility?
600 square feet.
Okay, and do you prepare this bubble tea? Does it come mixed and you receive that in delivery, or do you make it on premises? How does that work?
The tea is made on premise, so we brew the tea on premise. And then as far as the toppings, like strawberries puree, we will just buy those from like Costco. The honey would be from Costco as well.
I see, but you do that all there. So you can, so somebody can order a specific flavor of tea with toppings, similar to an ice cream sundae?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Those have answered my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice President McMenamin. Further questions by councilors or the Board of Survey and Planning? Questions by councilors or the Board of Survey and Planning?
I have a comment, if possible.
Chairman Crianti, you have.
I just want to say that I think it's a great idea, bringing in new business, as Mr. LaCava, councilors spoke of earlier. And as this crisis goes on, it does seem as though takeout businesses will be thriving much more than sit down. So I think it's a wonderful addition to the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Crianti. Is there further questions by councilors or the Board of Survey and Planning? There being none, close that part of the public hearing. Chairman Crianti, when will the Board of Survey and Planning take this matter up?
We will be meeting Wednesday, January 6th at 7 p.m. at the Government Center. And we will come back with a recommendation at that time.
Wednesday, January 6th. And Chairman McLaughlin, this will not be discussed until that is further deliberated at the Board of Survey and Planning. Is that correct?
I'm going to check with the clerk of the committee as far as what we can do tonight, if we can act on that before they meet on the 6th, because I don't believe we're going to be back in session until, is it the 14th?
That is correct, Chairman.
Through you, Mr. President, to the Assistant City Clerk.
You just can't take final action on it. So you'd be limited in terms, you could do something like recommended a first reading, but you couldn't do a third reading.
Right. So, and we could recommend a first reading and in turn send that to the law department. That's my understanding. Is that correct, Mr. Assistant City Clerk Fazad?
Yeah. So you could do like a first reading and send it to the law department for review.
Okay. Mr. President, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I'm not sure what questions that the Ordinances and Rules Committee will have, but that's an option that may happen tonight.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman McLaughlin. This matter will be referred to the Ordinance and Rules Committee. Clerk, continue with the next public hearing, zoning amendment.
Notice is hereby given that the City Council and the Board of Survey and Planning will hold a joint public hearing on Monday, December 28th, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. on the following proposed amendment to the zoning ordinance. Chapter 21 of the General Ordinance of the City of Waltham entitled Zoning is hereby amended as follows. Article 11 entitled Medical Marijuana Treatment Centers and Cultivation Operations. Section 11.2 entitled Definitions. Section 11.210 entitled Medical Marijuana Treatment Center is hereby amended by deleting the definition in its entirety and inserting in place thereof the following. Medical Marijuana Treatment Center, formerly known as a registered marijuana dispensary, a for-profit licensed under 935 CMR 501.101 to be known as a medical marijuana treatment center that acquires, cultivates, possesses, processes, open paren, including development of related products such as edible marijuana or marijuana products, MIPs, tinctures, aerosols, oils, or ointments, close paren, transfers, transports, sells, distributes, delivers, dispenses, or administers marijuana products containing cannabis or marijuana-related supplies or educational materials to registered qualifying patients or their personal caregivers for medical use. Unless otherwise specified, MTC refers to the sites of dispensing, cultivation, and preparation of cannabis or marijuana for medical use.
Clerk Waddick, if you would call Councilor O'Brien, who I believe is on the line now.
Patrick J. O'Brien.
You might have to be unmuted.
Patrick J. O'Brien.
All right, we're having technical difficulties. So anyone wishing to speak in favor of the proposal, please state your name and address for the record. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the proposal, please state your name
Good
and
evening.
address.
My
for the
name's
record.
Joseph M. Cornish Jr. I'm an attorney. My office is at 404 Main Street in Waltham, Massachusetts.
Attorney Connors, you have the floor.
Thank you. I represent Middlesex Integrated Medicine. You may recall we've been before the council and we've been approved for a medical marijuana facility at 305 Second Ave. And so this is a proposed amendment to the Waltham zoning code, which regulates medical marijuana. Medical marijuana, the provision that I've asked to amend is simply the definition of what medical marijuana is defined at under the zoning code. But the entire section 11 of the zoning ordinance was passed by the city council on January 12, 2015. So at that time, it was the state law, and it was followed by the state CMRs, the Code of Mass Regulations, which was at the time, the Code of Mass Regulations that was relevant was 105 CMR 725.100, that only a non-for-profit or non-profit corporation or entity could receive a medical marijuana license. So at the time, the city ordinance simply tracked the state definitions and rules. Subsequent thereto, in 2017, the state legislature passed an amendment to the medical marijuana statute, which allowed for nonprofit corporations to convert to for-profit corporations and operate a medical marijuana treatment center, provided that they were licensed under the state. And subsequent thereto, then the state Cannabis Control Commission, the CCC, took over that became the controlling bureaucracy that regulates marijuana. So over the course of from the beginning of the marijuana, it's transferred over to the Cannabis Control Commission. They've issued guidance documents that allow for nonprofit corporations to be converted to a for-profit corporation. So I'm simply asking to then amend the definition of the city of Waltham zoning ordinance to reflect what's permissible under the state law, and then we can have a for-profit entity that can operate medical marijuana treatment center. Of course, everything else in the statute applies, or the ordinance applies, so they would still need to go through, any other applicant would need to go through the process to receive a special permit. This is just changing what type of entity can actually apply and receive that particular license. So what I've tried to do is pretty much track the prior definition, just added that it can be a for-profit entity that can do it. And I've also updated the Code of Mass Regulations. The existing city ordinance refers to the old code, which has been changed to 935 CMR 502. So I also referenced that in the proposed new definition. So that's essentially our request, is just to change the definition of a medical marijuana treatment center. You'll see even in the prior versions, they used to refer to it as a RMD, which that doesn't even apply anymore. So this is really just to update the Waltham code with the state legislature and the guidance documents received from the CCC. So that would be my presentation, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Attorney Connors. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the proposal and zoning amendment? Please state your name and address for the residential address for the record. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the proposal?
Yes, this is Ed Bartlett. I live at 78 Irving Street in Norwood, and I'm the CFO of Middlesex Integrative Medicine. And just a little bit more background is that, we became a nonprofit because we were one of the first applicants in the first round of applying for a license in 2013. So that was the only way you could apply for a license in this the existing ordinance reflects that that was the way the law was written then. Since then, there have been several amendments, including the one that Attorney Connors mentioned in 2017 that allows the entities to become like a regular business entity. A Chapter 180 corporation has restrictions. You can't have shareholders. You stuck in a onerous income tax entity as well. So by converting, we're allowed to be performed like a regular business entity.
Thank you, Mr. Bartlett. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the proposal? Please state your name and address for the record. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the proposal? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the proposal? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the proposal? Please state your name and address for the residential address for the record. There being none, would anyone like to come forward in a neutral capacity seeking only information from the council or the petitioner? Anyone wishing to speak in a neutral capacity seeking only information? Please state your name and address for the record. Mr. Assistant City Clerk, there's nobody on the line for any of those. Mr. Clerk, if you would call Councilor O'Brien.
Patrick J. O'Brien.
Present.
Close that part of the public hearing. Open the public hearing up to questions by councilors and the Board of Survey and Planning. Questions by councilors and the Board of Survey and Planning. Council McLaughlin, Chairman of the Ordinance and Rules Committee, you're first.
Thank you, Mr. President. Attorney Connors, so just to kind of recap this, this is for medical marijuana only, correct?
That's correct. This is, it changes the definition of medical marijuana under section 11 of the Waltham zoning ordinance. So there's another complete section that deals with adult use marijuana, which is, we haven't changed that at all. So this is only medical marijuana.
So back in January 2015, we were using the state language in what those definitions were at the time. That has since changed. This is the language that you're using. One of the biggest changes with that language is the fact that you don't have to be a nonprofit anymore to do this. You can be for profit, and that's going to be reflected in this new definition. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely correct. Yeah. So there was the 2017 legislation that allowed for profit. Which was, after Waltham created their ordinance. So we're just trying to catch up.
Great. That answers all my questions right now, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman McLaughlin. Further questions by councilors or the Board of Survey and Planning? Further questions? Councilor Harris.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you to the attorney for the petitioner, good evening.
Good evening.
Could you have prepared for council, just so that, for committee, can you just have the prior definition and maybe something redlined or mocked up so we can see the differences in these definitions? I know you're the attorney and certainly do refer to that, but I would like to kind of see what we are replacing and have that comparison.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've done that for myself, so I can provide that for you.
Yeah. And then, thank you. And then just to clarify, again, to the attorney for the petitioner, I understand the petitioner is on the line tonight. I do appreciate him attending this call. So the driver for this, for the public, people are hearing, that medical marijuana is coming to Waltham and we're moving forward on that, and we've changed zoning and we're writing our laws and doing all of the due diligence that we need to do to properly bring us into our community. But the main driver for this, one more time, Attorney Connors, if you could, for the record, state why we're changing this definition. I do think it's important to take a moment and explain that.
Well, I'm going to explain, and I'm going to ask my client to kind of add to it too, because I think he's been doing this for, I don't know, at least going back to 2013. But principally, the only entity that could operate and get licensed for medical marijuana in the state was a nonprofit entity. So, and that was as he stated in 2013. So this would simply allow him to, we already have a corporation, we would just convert it from, and we don't even change the corporation, we just convert it from the nonprofit to a for-profit. And that really just would then allow them to have, specific identified owners of the corporation, and they'd be able to manage the corporation more easily. It wouldn't just be a board of directors, it would be actual owners and shareholders. And so we could disclose that to the public and everyone else. But I want to ask Ed to kind of add to that, because I think you had some additional reasons for it. Ed?
Sure. The main one is that the structure right now, it's a nonprofit corporation only because the state statute says that, but from a tax position, an income tax position, it's taxed as a C Corp, which means it pays its own tax instead of being taxed as a subchapter S or a LLC that has flow-through attributes. So as a business entity, it's the most restrictive type of arrangement that could be made. And as the main thing is there aren't shareholders, so you are prohibited from making elections that you would otherwise make as a regular business corporation. And the other thing I think it helps to identify who the owners are, right, as a 180 corporation, which if you look at the statute, that deals with civic organizations, benevolent societies, things like that. It's really not meant to be an operating business the way this entity will be.
Thank you. That answers my questions. In terms of that, I think we went over that rather quickly at the front end, so I wanted to have that one more time before both boards and the public before we go to committee. And if you could respond with those requests I had in writing around the change in definition, that'll be great for comparison. And I thank you both very much. Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing further.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Harris. Further questions by councilors or the Board of Survey? Further questions?
I've got a question.
Chairman Crianti, you have the floor.
So I just like to emulate what the councilor asked and see if we could get that information to us before our next meeting as well, so we could digest that prior to our recommendation.
Thank you, Chairman Crianti. First time around, Councilor Paz.
Thank you, Mr. President, through you to the petitioner. Good evening. Just curious to hear if this language to transition from nonprofit to a profit entity, is this comparable to other towns and cities? And would you happen to have an idea of what other towns and cities have made this adjustment?
I'm not aware of many cities that have a restriction that actually recites the nonprofit status of the entity. Usually they're just licensed by the state. I think the only other town I'm aware of that voted this in was in Milford, where there's another dispensary. That's the only town I'm aware of.
And Councilor Paz, I'd say that the definition that's provided under the CCC doesn't really make a distinction at all. I can provide that to the committee. It just talks about an entity. It doesn't talk about nonprofit or a profit.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Paz. First time around, Councilor Fossey.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you to the petitioner, just a couple of quick questions. With the change of language in the zoning from nonprofit to profit, I would assume at that point that you'd be paying taxes at a state level. And would that have any impact on the community host agreement that would be negotiated between you and the city?
No, well, the entity will pay tax as it does now. It's taxed as a C corporation, which means the entity pays its own taxes. So from an income tax perspective, it already does pay tax. We'd like to make it into an entity that's more efficient from that side. This has no bearing on the host agreement, though. That's a separate economic agreement between the entity and the city, and this does not change that. In fact, I think one of the things that would be helpful is see the guidance that the Cannabis Control Commission put out about the conversion. It was really meant to be bringing the entities in to allow them to function more like regular business corporations.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Councilor Fossey, further questions by councilors of the Board of Surveying. There being none that I see, is there any rebuttal in favor of the proposal?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Attorney Connors. Is there any rebuttal in opposition to the proposal? There being none, close the public hearing. Chairman Crianti, is there a date in which the Board of Survey and Planning will discuss this matter?
Yes, we will also be discussing that Wednesday, January the 6th.
Wednesday, January the 6th. Thank you,
Correct.
Chairman Crianti. And Councilor Chairman McLaughlin.
Mr. President, again, this will be coming in as a new matter tonight into committee. So we'll see what the wish of the committee is.
Okay. Further matter, the Ordinance and Rules Committee. Those are the joint meetings of the Waltham City Council with the Board of Survey and Planning. And although we love to see your faces, you have the opportunity to stay online to further see the rest of the City Council docket for this evening, or you have the opportunity to go off Zoom this evening. That will be the choice of the Board of Survey and Planning, but we're going to move forward with the next public hearing. Grant of location, clerk will call it.
Verizon New England, Inc. requests permission to lay and maintain underground conduits with the wires and cables to be placed therein under the surface of the following public way or ways. Beaver Street, place 5 feet of conduit from existing manhole MH 504 on Beaver Street to proposed handhole on southerly side of Beaver Street. This petition is necessary to provide new services. Also for permission to lay and maintain underground conduits, manholes, cables, and wires in the above or intersection public ways for the purpose of making connections with such poles and buildings as it may desire for distributing purposes. Plan marked VZNE Inc. number 1A4G6PY dated November 23rd, 2020, showing location of conduit to be constructed is filed herewith.
Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the petition, please state your name and address for the record. We have somebody from Verizon on the line.
Yes, good evening. Richard Foreman representing Verizon New England.
Mr. Foreman, thank you for being here. Is there any presentation you'd like to give at this time?
I would just like to reiterate what the petition was stating. This petition is to place 5 feet of 2 4-inch conduits from existing Verizon manhole located on Beaver Street. The exact manhole in question is actually located right at the end of the guardrail along Beaver Street, just in front of 451 Beaver Street and just west of utility pole number 35 Beaver Street. The manhole is actually set at the back side of the existing sidewalk, so I don't see this petition actually even disturbing any of the existing concrete sidewalk that's there. However, if any of the sidewalk was disturbed, any and all would be restored by Verizon. I also saw that there was a comment from the DPW regarding an existing drain that is in the area. It's a 15-inch drain. According to the plan and where the DPW plan that was sent over to me, and based on what I have from Verizon, this drain shouldn't be affected at all by this work. Again, this conduit, just by looking at where the manhole is going to be taking place in the grassy area off the edge of the sidewalk that's there. So I don't think there'll be much public interference with any of the public way or the sidewalk or anything based on what I have from Verizon.
Perfect. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the petition, please state your name and address for the record. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the petition, please state your name and address for the record at this time. I don't believe there's anybody on the line for that. Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the petition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the petition? I don't believe there's anybody on the line wishing to speak in opposition either. Anyone wishing to speak in a neutral capacity, seeking information only from the City Council? Anyone wishing to speak in a neutral capacity, seeking only information from the City Council on the petitioner? Please state your name and address for the record. There being none, close that part of the public hearing, open the public hearing up to questions by councilors. Councilor McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Foreman, just give me a better idea of this. I thought you said in your presentation, this is going to be at or in front of 451 Beaver. Is that correct?
I'm just going based off of Google Maps here. It actually looks like it's part of the college campus. Looks like, if you're looking at, are you trying to get an idea of where this manhole is?
Well, I'm looking at the Verizon petition plan, and it shows the manhole on the south side of Beaver Street.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I'm sorry. I think that just might have been a Google Maps error. It is 400. It's on the south side of Beaver Street on the college campus side. And if you
So
see
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. So Bentley's on both sides of Beaver Street.
it's trying to think, the Alumni Drive side. Trying to give you a better reference point.
So what we were given, the package that we were given includes a Verizon petition plan that
Yeah.
shows this manhole to be on the south side of Beaver Street, east of Forest and Falcon Way.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so my question is, well, the address you gave is actually on the north side of Beaver Street. So
That was incorrect. The petition plan is correct.
okay, so is any of this work going across the street, or is this east to west work?
It's north to south work, but it's all going to be on the south side of the street. It's actually going away from the street.
Okay, so there's nothing, so there'll be no interruption with traffic. You don't have to shut Beaver Street down. We won't, because there's an intersection there that's signalized, that's fairly busy, that is in between, and this won't matter, this won't mean anything to you, but it's an intersection of 4 different wards. So Ward 1, Ward 4, and I believe Ward 6. So, and that's my interest, is really the traffic flow and whether any of this work will be going across Beaver Street.
No, to my knowledge, no. Based on this is only a 5-foot run that's going to go to a small hand box in the grassy area on the south side. And like I said, the existing manhole is actually you can actually see the cover. It's at the end of the guardrail going towards the pedestrian footbridge. But this is going to be, it's all going away from the road, south away from the road in the grassy area. And I would imagine for safety, there would probably be a police detail with the heavy machinery. If any heavy machinery would be small, working, on the close to the road, but I don't see any road closures happening for this type of work. No.
Okay, great. And I would encourage you to have a police detail, just simply because that's a very, very busy intersection. And again, my questions came out of the fact that, and I understand it was a mistake, but the 451 threw me because I then thought the work was going across the street. Mr. President, that's all the questions I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Chairman of the License and Franchise Committee, Chairman Vidal. Councilor Vidal.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Foreman. I have a question. I noticed that most of the communication from Verizon has come from Ms. Karen Levesky, I think it is. Now, what is your role with Verizon?
I am a contract engineer for Verizon. So I do anything from, fielding to design to, preparing of petition documents, but not necessarily coordinating them in the legal way. I only do the early preparation. I will preface that by saying this particular work order for the conduit install and the handhole for this, I did not personally design that work. I'm strictly representing Verizon for this hearing, but I do normally do this type of work.
Okay. Now, you did reference a couple of minutes ago that you can actually see this manhole on Google Maps, correct? Is right at the end of the guardrail. Is that still the one, or because there's several on that particular sidewalk?
Yes, this is the one that if you drop in on Google, if you see the pedestrian footbridge going over Beaver Street, if you drop in just to the left of that,
yeah,
you will see utility pole 35.
Yes,
And then if you look about 10 feet to the right at the end of the guardrail, there's a metal cover.
yes.
That is the manhole.
That is the one that you're gonna be working, and the handhold will be on the grassy area, correct?
Correct.
Okay, all right. That's my that was now you did get a copy of the email from that we got from from the engineer, Mr. Wynn. You got a copy of that email, correct, regarding the drain line?
Yes, I did.
All right, and I know you say you weren't really that involved in this design, but you do not see that drain line being affected by this particular manhole construction, right?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. That's all my questions. Thank you, Mr. Foreman. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor. First time around, Councilor Fossey.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you to the petitioner, Mr. Foreman, thank you. I represent Ward 1, which is right at that intersection. And as Councilor McLaughlin stated, that intersection is heavily trafficked, primarily early morning and back at rush hour as people are coming home. Part of the email said that the work was going to be done on the sidewalk, but it did state that concrete panels of the sidewalk were going to be removed and then replaced, which signifies that, yes, small machinery, some type of jackhammer would be used. Do we know the hours of operation of the work that would be done and the duration of time needed?
In all of my time of doing contract work for Verizon, the only time I've ever seen crews work in late hours of the night, I understand that's probably a question of concern here with, being residential, people living in the area, traffic, things like that. I don't see this, that happening in this instance. This will probably be done in the middle of the day, not during rush hour. Crews might get out there probably after the rush hour time frame, depending on how you look at it. Rush hour, I don't know, I guess depends on what time frame you figure people are traveling most. They'd probably start working at 9 o'clock in the morning, something like that, and this work won't take long. This might be 1 or 2 day type thing, such a small amount of conduit going in. It's not an extensive amount of work. They might even be more hand digging than anything for this particular type of work. I mentioned, small equipment. You may have something like a small backhoe, just to aid in this type of work, but I can't see any big machinery getting in here to do such a small amount of work for this petition.
Okay, yeah, thank you. That was basically my concerns, just making sure that it wasn't going to be done after hours, as there are houses within 50 yards of that. And if possible, like I said, if they can be done kind of in the middle hours of the day, as opposed to early mornings and rush hour at night, just for traffic's sake. But thank you.
I can add that as a a note when I send the petition results back to Verizon.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you. No
Welcome.
further questions.
Thank you, Councilor. Further questions by councilors? There being none, is there any rebuttal in favor of the proposal? Any rebuttal in favor of the proposal? There being none, is there any rebuttal in opposition to the proposal? There being none, close the public hearing. For the matter of the License and Franchise Committee. Continue with applications and licenses.
Applications and licenses. Extended hours renewal, J&J Variety at 851 Main Street. Extended hours renewal, Waltham Gulf Manel Enterprises, Inc. at 821 Main Street.
For the License and Franchise Committee.
Orders, ordinances, and resolutions. We have 2 resolutions, Mr. President.
Clerk Walk, if you would read the resolutions into the record.
Whereas everyday people are moving to Waltham, and whereas there are numerous social media sites that provide information about services, resources, and announcements, and whereas the official City of Waltham website is a good resource for all, but it is good time to consider website enhancements, and whereas some Waltham residents have created excellent social media accounts with valuable information, especially for new residents. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Waltham City Council invite the IT Director to the next Community and Economic Committee meeting to meet with various community leaders to examine how we can potentially enhance our current official website with a more robust welcome center. Respectfully submitted, Patrick J. O'Brien, Councilor at Large, Jonathan Paz, Councilor Ward 9.
Councilor O'Brien, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can you hear me okay?
You certainly can.
Excellent. Sorry for the difficulties earlier. We have more electronic devices since Christmas in this house, so it's creating a bit of a challenge, but we'll get there. But anyway, thank you for reading the resolution. Just over a week ago, when we had that snowstorm, I saw information on Facebook by various residents, which I thought was very helpful. For an example, it shared the information that trash pickup was being delayed by a day. And I noticed that, half the residents in my neighborhood still had the trash out and half didn't. So I think that the resources that could be available should be available and should be linked to our official website. So I'm hoping after the new year that we can bring in this various constituents who are kind of doing this on their own as a public service and see if we can kind of formalize it more and get it on our website so that people are up to speed, particularly when they're, new to the community and they don't know the resources that are available to them. So if we could refer this to the Economic Community Development Committee, I'd really appreciate it. And anyone else is welcome to speak on it as well. Thank you.
The matter will be referred to the Economic and Community Development Committee.
Thank you.
Clerk, continue with the next resolution.
Whereas traffic is a major challenge in Waltham, and whereas the Piety Corner intersection is a major artery for traffic flow in Waltham, and whereas the city of Waltham purchased and tore down a home in Piety Corner neighborhood a few years ago, and whereas our constituents are requesting an update on the project, now therefore be it resolved that the Waltham City Council invite the traffic engineer to the next committee of the whole meeting for an update. Respectfully submitted, Patrick J. O'Brien, Councilor at Large, Anthony LaFosse, Councilor Ward 1.
Councilor O'Brien, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a project that's been going on for a while, and several residents have been looking for an update. So I thought after the new year, this would be a good time to bring in the traffic engineer to provide an update to the residents of Waltham. And if it could, either go to the committee of the whole or Public Works, I'm open to whatever your suggestion would be on that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor LaFosse, you're a co-signer on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to kind of echo what the Councilor at Large had said, yeah, we did purchase the house. We knocked it down a while ago. We're still trying to maintain that property as far as weeds. The maker of the resolution had asked for the traffic commissioner to come in. It's my understanding that that project is with the engineering department. Is there any verification of that? And if so, should we have engineer Wynn in as well?
Councilor
That makes sense to me.
So if we could add that we have engineer Wynn come in to speak on the project as well as a traffic commissioner, that would be appreciated.
You've all heard the sense of the request. On the request, all in favor say aye.
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 Oppose or object? There being none, the matter will be referred to the committee of Councilor O'Brien. You had asked for that to go to the committee of the whole of Public Works.
The committee of the whole will be fine. Thank you.
Committee of the whole. The matter will be referred to the committee of the whole.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Clerk, continue with committee reports.
Committee, excuse me, committee reports, licenses and franchises. The Licenses and Franchises Committee recommends the Class 2 renewal for Chrisland's Auto Inc. at 477 Main Street be approved.
Councilor Vidal moves the action committee to the action of the council. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose or object? There being none, the matter is approved. Clerk, continue with number 2.
The Licenses and Franchises Committee recommends the fuel storage application for 245 Fifth Avenue be approved.
Councilor Vidal moves the action committee to the action of the council. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose or object? There being none, the matter is approved. Clerk, continue with Committee of the Whole.
Committee of the Whole recommends the loan authorization in the amount of $1,600,000 for the design and construction of the improvements to Prospect Hill Park be given a first reading.
Vice President McMenamin moves the action committee with the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object for a first reading. There being none, the matter is approved for a first reading.
The Committee of the Whole recommends the loan authorization in the amount of $375,000 for the design and construction of the improvements to Prospect Hill Park be given a first reading.
Vice President McMenamin moves the action committee with the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object. There being none, the matter has been given a first reading. Clerk, continue with number 3.
Committee of the Whole recommends the extension of the city's Riverwalk matter be filed without prejudice.
Vice President McMenamin moves the action committee with the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object. There being none, the matter is filed.
The Committee of the Whole recommends the Chamber Security and Safety Resolution be approved.
Vice President McMenamin moves the action committee with the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object. There being none, the matter is approved. Clerk, continue with the ordinance and rules.
The Ordinances and Rules Committee recommends the special permit modification at 305 Second Avenue for Middlesex Integrative Medicine, Inc. and Executive Park Corporation be approved.
Council McLaughlin moves the action committee with the action of the council. Roll call is required.
George A. Darcy III.
Yes.
Karen Dunn.
Yes.
Sean T. Durkee.
Yes.
Kathy Ann Harris.
Yes.
Joseph P. LaCava.
Yes.
Anthony LaFosse.
Yes.
Randall J. LeBlanc.
Yes.
Christine A. Mackin.
Yes.
John J. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Kathleen B. McMenamin.
Yes.
Patrick J. O'Brien.
Yes.
Jonathan Paz.
Yes.
Thomas M. Stanley.
Yes.
Carlos A. Vidal.
Yes.
14 in favor. None
By your action,
opposed.
approve the special permit modification. Clerk, continue with finance.
Finance Committee recommends approval of the funding allotment totaling $5,143.94 from cable access funds to be paid to the Waltham Community Access Corporation for audio equipment to support social distancing at Government Center.
Council LaCava moves the action committee with the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object.
The Finance Committee recommends the acceptance of a grant in the amount of $58,020 to the IT Department through the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Compact Cabinets Information Technology Grant Program.
Council LaCava moves the action committee with the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object. There being none, the matter is approved. Clerk, continue with number 3.
Finance Committee recommends the acceptance of a grant in the amount of $7,500 from the Massachusetts Interlocal Insurance Association to be used towards the purchase of fleet management software.
Council LaCava moves the action committee with the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object. There being none, the matter is approved. Clerk, continue with number 4.
Finance Committee recommends the appropriation of funds in the amount of $7,500 from the Cemetery Sale and Lots and Graves Fund to purchase a casket lowering device and carrier for the Cemetery Division be approved.
Council LaCava moves the action committee with the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object. There being none, the matter is approved. Clerk, continue with number 5.
Finance Committee recommends the appropriation in the amount of $116,000 to engage the low and responsible bidder for the improvements to Nippamar Park and Monsignor McCabe Playground be approved.
Council LaCava moves the action committee with the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object. Being none, the matter is approved. Clerk, continue with long-term debt and capital planning.
Long-Term Debt and Capital Planning Committee recommends the allocation of CPA funds for improvements to McDonald and Thompson Playgrounds be approved.
Councilor Darcy moves the action of the committee with the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose or object. There being none, the matter is approved for the allocation of funds.
And Mr. President, we have the Long-Term Debt and Capital Planning Committee met earlier this evening, and there are recommendations coming out of that committee. And the Long-Term Debt Long-Term Debt and Capital Planning Committee recommends that the council submit the capital budget to the mayor for approval.
Council Darcy moves the action committee be the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object?
The
There
long-term,
being
I'm sorry.
none, the matter, there being none, the matter is approved. Clerk, continue with the other matters.
The Long-Term Debt and Capital Planning Committee recommends that the items remaining on the committee docket from 2020 be carried forward to the docket of 2021.
Council Darcy moves the action of the committee be the action of the council to roll the matters over to the 2021 docket. On the motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Oppose or object? The matters are carried forward. Clerk, continue.
There are additional committee reports from meetings held earlier this evening, Mr. President. First, the Ritzy Award Committee met, and recommendation of the committee, I believe Councilor Harris has a report.
Councilor Harris, you have the floor.
Yes, Mr. President. We met earlier this evening. I stepped down as chair and Councilor McLaughlin chaired the committee. On behalf of the city of Waltham, the committee unanimously nominated the city of Waltham to receive Outstanding Public Service Award for 2020 in the name of Kevin Ritzy. This includes all department heads, all nonprofits, all residents in the city of Waltham who have come together as a community in solidarity, working together as we face this horrible pandemic, COVID-19 in 2020. And although this is far from over, the committee felt very strongly that the city, its residents, its first responders, its essential workers, its nonprofits be recognized as a community of unity and that is committed to public service. And there are countless stories that represent that. This award will hang in City Hall at the behest of the mayor, and it will represent this moment in history. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Harris. The motion is for approval of the recommendation of the committee for the award to be given to the Kevin M. Ritzy Award. On the motion by the committee, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose or object? The matter is approved. Clerk will continue.
There was a recommendation from the Housing Committee that met earlier this evening. Mr. President, the Housing Committee recommends that the council accept a report of the Ad Hoc Committee on Housing, and Councilor Stanley is chair of that committee.
Councilor Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I want to thank you for establishing the committee last year, and also all of the members of the committee who worked very hard during this past year to identify a lot of the challenges we face in our community with regards to housing, and all the great efforts that have been made in the past by the city of Waltham and Watch and other entities with regards to creating affordable housing, CPC committee, so forth. And also, the committee worked hard. We had a lot of great guests come in to talk about housing issues and housing challenges facing Waltham and Greater Boston, quite frankly. And we came up with a number of recommendations that we hope everyone takes the time to read. We realized that any recommendation would have to go through the normal process of going to if it requires getting approval by the city council and mayor, if it's regards to appropriations or zoning changes or ordinance changes, they all would have a life of their own and a process to go through. With that said, we don't see this report of the committee as the end of anything, but rather the beginning of our community efforts in putting forth a multi-pronged effort to address affordable housing needs in our community. And again, I just want to thank everyone for the hard work that everyone did. And the information is up on the city website. We have a few other documents to be added to it that we did not have enough time to get up on there, but the report is there, and I thank you, Mr. President, and thank the council for its indulgence, and I hope the report serves you well. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Stanley, for your hard work and the committee's hard work and going over and reviewing all those things and putting forth the recommendations for the city council. So just the motion would be probably to accept the report for the council review. Is that correct, Council Stanley? Council Stanley makes a motion to accept the report for the council review, the recommendations on the motion to accept the report. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object? Thank you so much again, Council Stanley, and the members of the ad hoc committee. Truly appreciate your hard work. We'll continue with further communications. Communications.
I have no further committee reports at this point, Mr. President, just unfinished business and other business.
Unfinished and business.
We have a late file communication, a request for an extension on special permit order number 34570-305 Second Avenue.
Council McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to move to accept the late file communication.
On the motion to accept the late file communication, on the motion to accept the late file communication, Vice President McMillan, I see your hand.
No, this is, no, when he's finished, I have a point of parliamentary inquiry.
Okay. Thank you. Councilor McLaughlin makes a motion to accept the late file communication. The motion to accept the late file communication. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object? There being none, we accept the late file communication. Councilor McLaughlin, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. So this is regarding 305 Second Ave. They have a special permit. They had to make an adjustment in that special permit, which now is going to push back their date to begin the work. So this is a time extension, which would push that date back to April 15th, 2021. So I'd like to suspend the rules to act on this matter without committee reference.
Councilor McLaughlin makes a motion to suspend the rules, act on this matter without committee reference. On the motion to suspend the rules, all in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object? There being none, the matter is before us. Councilor McLaughlin makes a motion for approval of the extension of time. Clerk, call roll.
George A. Darcy III.
Yes.
Karen Dunn. Sean T. Durkee.
Yes.
Kathy Ann Harris.
Yes.
Joseph P. LaCava.
Yes.
Anthony LaFosse.
Yes.
Randall J. LeBlanc.
Yes.
Christine A. Mackin.
Yes.
John J. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Kathleen B. McMenamin.
Yes.
Patrick J. O'Brien.
Yes.
Jonathan Paz.
Yes.
Thomas M. Stanley.
Yes.
Carlos A. Vidal.
Yes.
14 in favor, none opposed.
By your action, you've approved the extension of time. Madam Vice President, you have the floor.
Thank you. My inquiry is this. The next item on our docket is the tabled item of the open meeting law complaint, 3/23/2020. I need to have that moved over to the next year, 2021, because I need to use that as a jumping off point for much information that we're going to be receiving in January. However, may I leave this tabled, even though we won't have a docket coming out of committee and then into the full council after this? May I leave this tabled, and would somebody make sure that this tabled item is rolled over? I still need to use it tonight.
In the following, as you know, this evening is council committee council.
Yes.
And on the last half of the docket on the council, any items that are tabled or by committees being referred over to the docket of 2021 for the city council, the motion will be made and this matter will be forwarded to the 2021 docket.
Thank you, Mr. President. But the reason I'm asking this is we will not really have a hard copy in the final council meeting this evening. So I want to make sure this does not get dropped by any possibility. So
sure, we can do it now if you'd like.
Of that now.
You could do it now if you'd like.
No, because I need to use it in committee, possibly use it in committee. So no, we'll just leave it there for now. I'm fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Further matters before the City Council. As you know, this evening is December the 28th. This is a committee council evening, the last meeting of the City Council for the year of 2020. An interesting year as it has been. So we are here on Zoom this evening. We are about to recess the City Council and go into committees, which will be televised live on Zoom. Many of the meetings have never, or committees have never met in consecutive order like this. So this evening we are going to go immediately into the Committee of the Whole as we recess, followed by the Assistant City Clerk will call off the following committee meetings that have to meet just to roll matters over or to address any issues before their committees. Is there a wish for anybody to discuss any other matters prior to the recess of this committee to go into the Committee of the Whole? There being none, the Waltham City Council will stand in recess and will reconvene after committee meetings later on this evening. The Waltham City Council will stand in adjournment. We'll recess at 8:50 p.m. Go into committee meetings starting with Committee of the Whole. And the Assistant City Clerk will call out each additional committee to follow. Stand in adjournment. Assistant City Clerk Dazad, I believe.
Yeah, so are we starting with Committee of the Whole?
Committee of the Whole, which is Clerk Santafanti, all by the other committees.
I'm here. That's not what I had on my agenda, but I'm ready to go. If everyone else is ready to go, I'm ready to go. Clerk Santafanti, you ready to ramp it up here?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. So the time is 8:51 p.m. on Monday, December 28th, 2020. The Committee of the Whole of the Waltham City Council will come to order. May I ask the clerk, Santafanti, to call the roll, please?
President Brasco.
Present.
Councilor Darcy.
Present.
Councilor Dunn.
Present.
Councilor Durkee.
Present.
Councilor Harris.
Present.
Councilor LaCava.
Present.
Councilor LaFosse.
Present.
Councilor LeBlanc.
Present.
Councilor Mackin.
Present.
Councilor McLaughlin.
Present.
Councilor O'Brien.
Present.
Councilor Paz.
Present.
Councilor Stanley.
Present.
Councilor Vidal.
Present.
Vice President McMenamin.
Present? How many present and all present, Mr. Clerk?
All present, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Do we have minutes from last week's meeting?
We do.
Sorry?
Yes, we do.
Is there a motion to accept, to approve the minutes of the last committee?
Motion for approval.
Councilor Brasco makes a motion for approval. On that motion, all those in favor, please.
Aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes carry it. Thank you very much. Now, bear with me, please, if I might, so I don't confuse all of you or myself. So I'm looking at the Waltham City Council Committee docket report that was given to us for this week's packet in the Committee of the Whole, starting with 2/13/2017. On that first page, there really are no matters to be discussed unless someone wishes to discuss them. And the matter on the $1,600,000 loan order for Prospect Hill is also included at the end of the docket. The reason it's still listed here is because, as you know, each of these items, these $395,000 and the $1,006,000, come out of two separate loan orders. So in order to differentiate the source of the money, we will keep this item listed here, but it's been combined with the second item at the end of this Council Committee of the Whole docket. Let's go to the next page, if you will, please. As you can see, the matter on the Chamber Security and Safety resolution was approved. The executive session minutes were approved. And that matter was approved as of tonight. That will no longer appear on our docket. There are no other matters to discuss on that page. Go to the next page, please. There are no matters currently to discuss on the next page. If you go to the last page, the bridge project, the executive session minutes were approved, sent to the law department, and have been returned to us. Since we are still in discussion on the 117 bridge project, those minutes will remain unavailable to the public until that matter is complete. And I believe under the open meeting law, we have the right to do that. The next matter at 89 Maple Street, those executive session minutes were approved. They were sent to the law department. We will await the return from the law department of those minutes. When they are returned to us, we will then be able to release them to the public and then file this matter because the matter has finished. Moving down, I spoke with the auditor today on the 11/23/2020 matter of my resolution inviting the city auditor to the committee of the whole to discuss the bond sale for Waltham High. Tonight is not the night to do that. It needs a thorough vetting, and it needs a lot of dialogue from all of you. So it's a very serious and lengthy matter. So I've asked the auditor if we could put it off to the very first, now that we're all on Zoom, the very first committee of the whole meeting that we have in January. So that will go forward to then. And then, as you know, the last matter is the loan authorization, $375,000. On both those matters, we have to wait for them to be advertised and come back to us. The $1,600,000 and $375,000. When that happens, I'm sure we can have our second reading and move forward on the Prospect Hill renovation and park. So before we adjourn, I asked for the matter of hold on a minute here. The tabled matter on the open meeting law violation that was filed by a former city councilor. I will take that up. I'm sorry to have to do this, but I will take that up at the last part of the next full meeting because I have some updates on more executive session minutes that I need to take votes on. And so I will, as of right now, unless there are items, are there any other items that the members of the committee wish to discuss?
Yes, Madam Chair.
I'm sorry?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Oh, Councilor Randy LeBlanc, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to take the matter dated 10/26/2020 off the table.
10/26/2020. Uses for a portion of the non-CPA parcel of the former Fertile School for the CPW department. Councilor Randy LeBlanc makes a motion to take that matter off the table. On the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. I need to recuse myself if there's going to be discussion on this matter. And so could I ask Council President Brasco, would you take the chair for this matter, please?
Madam Vice President, I will take the chair with regards to this matter. Councilor Blank, let the record reflect that Councilor Vice President Engman recused herself with regards to this matter. Councilor Randy LeBlanc, you took this matter from the table. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Through you to the chairman of the committee, is there any updates or any information put forward on this matter?
You're referring to the Fernal Reuse Committee with regards to the chairman of the committee?
That is correct.
This question is directed to the chairman of the Fernal Use Committee, Chairman McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Councilor Blank. This had been sent back to the committee of the whole with the intention of having the mayor come in and speak to the matter. I have spoken to the mayor. It is her intention to come in and give a more robust outline of what she has planned for the Fernald. I do look at this as somewhat separate. I do want to emphasize this is a feasibility study, but you know, it's something that I don't want to see lay out there too long.
Councilor Blank, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. With the information and the fact that the chairman stated it's only a feasibility study, you know, just to see what's possible. We don't want to let that sit out there too long. I'll open it up to any comments from other councilors. I'll yield the floor.
Thank you, Councilor Blank. First on my list is Councilor Fossey.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you to the council, the property that we're talking about, the Fernald, it's a property that's been in discussion with us and in the city for the past, I'd say, greater part of 10 years. Many great suggestions and ideas have been discussed about the potential use of this land. But I want to go back on November 22nd, 2017, the Mayor McCarthy came back to us with the recommended master plan for the Fernald property. As many of us know, the property is divided by parcels. And at that time, she had given her recommendations to each and every one of those parcels. And the reason I'm bringing this up is I keep hearing over and over that the council has done nothing with this property, that we're just sitting on it and it's laying abandoned. So part of that recommendation, if I may, with parcel 1, she had outlined that pursuant to Master General Law, Chapter 40, Section 15, she had requested that the city council transfer the care, custody, and control of parcel 1 to the city's recreation department for open space and recreation, that we transfer care, custody, and control of Cardinal Cottage, Baldwin Cottage, and Trapello Cottage to the housing division of the city's planning department for affordable housing, that we transfer care, custody, and control of the chapel to the city's cemetery commission and CPW department for the use in conjunction with the cemetery, that we transfer care, custody, and control of the Marquardt building to the city's veteran services department for affordable housing for veterans, that the city council transfer care, custody, and control of the Howe Hall, the administration building, the Hillside building to the city's recreation department for community use. She further went on to say that she respectfully requested that the city council support the demolition of Green, Shiver, and Kelly Hall building, and that she requested that the city council support the creation of a museum on parcel 1, as the Fernald is the oldest institution for the developmentally disabled in the Western Hemisphere. She further went on with parcel 2A and parcel 2B, that she respectfully requested that the city council support requests for information for parcels 2A and 2B to see if there is any interest from the public in reuse of existing buildings and land. For parcel 3A, once again, in pursuant to General Law, Chapter 40, Section 15, that the city council transfer the care, custody, and control of the West Building to the Waltham Historical Commission, that she respectfully requested that the city council support requests for information for parcel 3A to see if there's any interest from the public to reuse the existing buildings and land. And finally, with 3B, she asked that the city council transfer the care, custody, and control of parcel 3B to the city's Consolidated Public Works Department and Cemetery Commission for public works and cemetery use, that she respectfully requested that the city council transfer shared care, custody, and control of Howe Library to the city's Historic Commission and library trustees. So basically, there is a plan, but we've yet to act on it. And I think this feasibility study would be a step in the right direction to suggest many of these ideas. Furthermore, many a resolution has been submitted to the Fernald with some great ideas on how it could possibly be used, many of them impacting the constituents of Ward 1 and the abutting communities. So I think it's only fair that we as a body do what's right for our constituents and our city, and take the next step. This is a feasibility study. Nowhere does it say shovels in the ground. It's basically allowing the mayor to do her job and see what is best for that property and then come back. So after saying that, Mr. President, at this time, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of the feasibility study at the Fernald. Thank you.
You've all heard a sense of the motion. The motion is for a feasibility study at the Fernald. On the motion for a feasibility study, first on my list is Councilman Waltham.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the only caveat to that, I'd ask that if we're heading in that direction tonight, I would support the feasibility study. The caveat would be that I would want us to have tied into that feasibility study a site visit that all of us could go on to see what we're talking about on that piece of the property, and also a site visit that would allow residents who live there to go on the property and see exactly what we're talking about as far as this particular aspect of planning goes. So if there's no opposition to that, I'd like to include a site visit in addition to the feasibility study, whether that be tied directly to this approval or it be a separate request. Thank you.
That may be a separate request, Councilman McLaughlin, but certainly is something.
Then I'd make that after the vote. Thank you, Mr. President.
Absolutely. First time around is Councilor Darcy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, I'd just like to point out that we had made a motion which was approved in the Fernald Use Committee that we would have a citizen input hearing before moving forward with this issue. Things have changed now, and all of a sudden we're not going to have a citizen input hearing. And I direct that to either the chair of the Fernald Use Committee or the maker of the motion. I yield the floor, but I'd like the floor back in a minute.
So you're directing question towards Councilor from Ward 1 or the Councilor from Ward 4 with regards to the citizen input hearing. Right now, the motion on the floor is for a feasibility study. On that, either councilor wish to address the councilor from Ward 3.
I'll go, Mr. President, through you to the councilor from Ward 3. I understand the need for a citizen input hearing, and I'm all for a citizen input hearing. I feel that they should be able to go hand in hand. Without a feasibility study to know exactly what can go on that property, I feel that a citizen input hearing may just be going around in circles again. I think giving us a definitive of what is possible on that property in collaboration with the citizen input hearing will give everybody the best of both worlds. I'm not suggesting that we're doing any construction. We're looking for what is the best possible use for both the citizens and the community and the city as a whole.
Councilor Darcy.
Yes, well, I just like to point out the vote in the Fernald Use Committee, in all due respect, was to conduct a citizen input hearing before the vote for the feasibility study. So you're going against the very vote that was taken in the Fernald Use Committee to have a citizen input hearing first before a vote on the feasibility study.
Mr. President, I guess I'd ask the question to the councilor of Ward 3. When was that vote taken?
I would direct it to the chair of the Fernald Use Committee.
All right. I'll direct it to the chair of the Fernald Use Committee. When was that?
Councilor Fossey, Councilor Darcy still has the floor. He addressed the question to you now. the Councilor Darcy still has the floor. With
Yes,
regards to-
so the vote was taken about at our last Fernald Youth Committee meeting, and the chair can confirm that. In fact, I sent the written request to the chair of the committee as well as the clerk. And I remember the line I'd like that was stated that we'd like that input hearing to happen before the end of the year, because I feared at that meeting what would happen would be the very thing that's happening this evening, that we're making decisions upon the site to expend taxpayer money on a feasibility study when we have not even heard from the residents in that area of North Waltham. So that's why I made the motion, which passed in that committee. So what we're doing now is going against the vote of the Fernald Youth Committee. And I can't respect that. You're going against a vote of the committee.
Mr. President, if
Councilor Darcy, you all set?
I'm all set for now. I'll yield the floor. I'd like to speak again when people are done speaking.
Okay. First on my list is Councilor LaCava next.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you all previous speakers. Being a member of the Fernald Reuse Committee, I remember that meeting very well. I remember taking a vote to have citizen input meetings. I know for a fact I spoke on it. I said I will have a meeting every other day if needed. I'm more than happy to. I could be wrong, and I don't have the minutes in front of me. I do not recall saying we were going to delay this vote. But if that is the case, I will respect that. I would defer to the chair. I don't believe the clerk of the committee is on this Zoom currently. So I do need some clarification here. And I know the council from Ward 3 has stated that, and I'm not putting, I'm not doubting him in any way. I just am not recalling that being the full vote. I do remember the meeting and voting to have these citizen input meetings. So if the if the chair of that committee does have the answer to that, I am interested to hear it to help clarify what I am voting on this evening. Thank you.
Councilor Cotter, are you requesting that the chair of the committee address that for you? Or
yes, please.
So Councilor Cotter addresses that to the chair of the committee, the council from Ward 4, if you'd like to take that to address the vote that was taken with regards to.
Thank you, Mr. President. So it's from the meeting of November 9th of 2020 this year. It happened at the very end of the meeting. The Ward 3 councilor made a request for a meeting, a citizens input meeting. It was not specifically tied. I'm looking at the minutes now. It's not specifically tied to the feasibility study. The only other point I want to make, and this is clear in the minutes, is that the matter of the feasibility study had been voted out of committee 4-1. The discussion about the meeting happened after the vote. There was nothing on the table. The discussion was moving fairly quickly. So we did not have the matter in front of us anymore when we took that vote. Now that's a technicality. I have no issue with having a citizen input meeting. I would like to say that I think we're better served if we do this in a particular order. I think a site visit, which allows residents to go on the property, it allows councilors to go on the property, take a walk around, take a look, then a feasibility study be completed. And then with that information, that report in hand, I think that's going to be more helpful to people if we have a citizens input meeting, because we're not even sure that this proposal is going to work. The feasibility study will tell us that. So I would leave you with that. I think that if we take this in order and that the mayor moves ahead with a feasibility study, that we tie a site visit to that, and that we schedule a citizens input meeting after that, I think we're better served. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor McLaughlin. Councilor Cotter, you still have the floor. Does that address your question?
That does. I'm all set. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Cotter. First on my list, first time around, Councilor Mackin.
Thank you. Could either the maker of the motion or the clerk of the committee read back what the motion is that we're going to vote on?
The motion is for a feasibility study of the property at the for the Fernald School.
Okay. So I believe the maker of the motion read out a list of projects that were proposed for the Fernald. Which portions of those are included in the suggested feasibility study?
Council from Ward 1, would you like to address that? Which matters are you looking to have addressed in the feasibility study?
No, I think basically the whole point of me reading off what was decided back in 2017 was to kind of give the general public an understanding that there are actions that have been wanting to take place and that the mayor had proposed many an idea for every parcel of this property. Hence why the feasibility study for the Fernald, both the CPA and the non-CPA portions of it, was a step in the right direction in order to get this. But specifically, the feasibility study was for the non-CPA portion, the 50 acres on the lower side that the mayor had come in asking for that ability, which would be parcels, I believe, 3A and 3B.
Okay. And are there specific uses that you're suggesting we do the feasibility study to consider?
There aren't necessarily specific uses. It's for the parcels 3A and 3B. I mean, a couple of ideas were thrown out there, not to shake the beehive, but obviously the CPW was suggested. There was a cemetery use that was suggested down there, among other things, none of which we know with any certainty that would work without first having the feasibility study done.
Okay. So I'm referencing the October 22nd letter from the mayor's office that is included in the e-docket for that date, which reads, I respectfully request approval of the following uses for a portion of the non-CPA parcel of the former Fernald School per the attached map to 4 CPW offices, city yard, cemetery, materials management area, and area for parking of city school buses. Are those the only uses that would be considered in this feasibility study?
Those were suggestions made by the mayor. Obviously, would the feasibility study uncover other uses that maybe none of us are aware of? I mean, I think that's a good stepping off point. And then looking further into it from an outside source.
Okay, then I'd like to direct a question through the chair to the chair of the Fernald Reuse Committee, the councillor from Ward 4. I'd just like to be really clear, when the motion came out of committee, was it limited to the uses suggested by the mayor in that October 22nd letter, or was it meant to be a feasibility study for the entire Fernald parcel, or a feasibility study specifically for this parcel for those uses?
So it's I think, and I don't have it in front of me, Councillor, Mr. President, if it's okay if I can address that.
Yes.
Thank you. I don't have the memo in front of me right now, but I can't speak to the fact that it was non-CPA, which is the back 50 acres of the property, which if you're looking at the map is the southern section of the property. So it's where the old powerhouse is. It's where the old maintenance building is. That entrance is off of Waverly Oaks Road.
Okay, so are we considering all possible uses for that parcel, or are we only considering the uses that the mayor laid out in her October 22nd letter?
As far as the feasibility study goes, it's not for the entire parcel. It's for the back 50 acres. It's for the non-CPA. And I'm almost positive that's exactly what she cites in the memo, in the correspondence.
So I understand that it's for the back 50 acres, and there was a map attached to the memo. So if anybody wants to reference, it's available online. But what I'm asking is, would the motion that came out of the committee for the feasibility study, is that to examine any possible use for that parcel, or is it only examining the uses the mayor listed? And I can read those back again if it would be helpful.
No, I'm familiar with what the uses might be. It didn't go beyond those uses. But the specific matter that has been the hot button topic is the Public Works Division moving there. We have in years past talked about a cemetery, and that would be on that back portion. We have, I don't know if it was actually in committee, but I know that where we're going to park the school buses, and the fact that if we park them on city property, that would give us an excise tax option with those buses. I know that's been addressed before. So in my mind, this feasibility study again is restricted to that back 50 non-CPA area and limited to those uses.
Okay, thank you very much for clarifying that. So just to reiterate, the memo from the mayor specifies CPW offices, city yard, cemetery, materials management area, and an area for parking of school buses. I am wildly in support of a lot of the proposals that have been made for the Fernald, especially the proposals for a museum of disability history, which I think is really important for the history of our city and for our country, considering the historic nature of the Fernald site. But I don't see feasibility for any of that, or historic preservation or commemoration of the people who spent and lost their lives at the Fernald on this feasibility study. And as it currently stands, I cannot support it. Thank you. I have nothing further to say at this time.
I'm sorry about that. I muted myself, so I apologize. I was just saying, Councilor Blank is second time around. Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. Councilor Paz, now is first time on my list. Councilor Paz, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr.
Council President.
I'm just trying to be at least crystal clear in my understanding. We're talking about a very limited use for the Fernald, and that's for what the mayor requested. I just would like to at least state my, at least my position and my understanding. I don't think these things are mutually exclusive. We're literally just taking a small portion of the Fernald and seeing what's possible. I'm not yet convinced that all of this is mutually exclusive from all these other great things with the Fernald. I just would like to urge other leaders in our city to consider the fact that this site has been standing and rotting and doing absolutely nothing. And that is, I think, something that is a disservice to taxpayers and to people of the city. So again, I like what the chairman from the Fernald Committee said, which is we can absolutely have a site visit, we can have a feasibility study, and we can have a citizens public hearing. It's just a matter of having an informed dialogue with the people that live around the front, which we will not be able to do without a feasibility study or a site visit. That's just my thoughts for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. First time around on my list is Councilor Harris.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wish to speak in favor of the motion to approve the feasibility study to analyze the municipal uses of this site. I am brand new to the Fernald Reuse Committee. I've served my first year on it this year. I can tell you that there is deep history. There's a lot of potential at this site. There's a lot of need for public use. I agree with, future uses that have been put forward, and I believe the councilor from Ward 3 has put forward, better than 20 resolutions talking about various uses, both conservation, recreation, and historical. I think one of the things that we owe it to ourselves as elected officials representing our constituents, taxpayers in the city of Waltham, is to look at the highest use for this particular parcel. This really is to see and rule in or rule out once and for all, can a municipal use be applied here? We cannot do that without public input. We cannot do that without a site visit. We cannot do it off schematics, and we cannot do that with expert opinion. This site has sat untouched for various reasons, And I think that the committee, the Fernald Reuse Committee, is really trying to bring forward the first line of analysis to look at, is municipal use possible? This land was acquired for con-rec and also for municipal use. So we do need to logically, I know there's a lot of emotion tied to the site, and I respect that. But I think we have to look at this logically to say, is there a municipal use out here? Would it be applicable? Would it be a good fit? Would it work for the community? And would it work for the other conservation, recreation, and historical purposes that have been cited by community experts for this site? One does not overlay the other. One does not make one more important than the other. They're all equally important, and this is a starting point. Municipal use, like I said, is one of the highest uses you have to look at. This job that we have is a tough job. You don't always get to do what's popular. You don't always get to do what everybody wants you to do. Sometimes you must do the work of root cause analysis, due diligence, and weigh these particular items. And that is really what the purpose of this feasibility study is all about, to rule in or rule out once and for all, is there an applicable municipal use at this site for a particular parcel outlined as the councilor from Ward 7 outlined in the mayor's communication. That's really the heart of this matter. And I understand that there are lots of opinions related to this, and I'm listening to every one of them, but it can't proceed without facts. And I need facts around municipal use. So does the committee. I can tell you this is being done with the utmost respect for the disability history out there, for the history of the city of Waltham, and for the future uses of this project. There is nothing being discounted, and this is really about overturning every stone, if you will, and doing due diligence of what is applicable. I thank you for listening, and I thank you for the opportunity. Nothing further, Mr. President. I will be supporting this tonight.
Thank you, Council. First time around, Council Vidal.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, can you add me to the list, please?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Council Vidal, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Councilor LaFosse, for bringing this up, and I will be supporting the motion. As Councilor from Ward 8 stated earlier, just a few comments a second ago, we're actually taking a step in the right direction to have something like this done, finally. As a former member of the Fernald Use Committee, in which we couldn't really get much done, I'm happy to see that at this point, we actually are able to take a step in the right direction for at least the non-CPA area of this land that we purchased many, many years ago. I believe that this study will give us an opportunity to see what could be done there, whether it's CPW or whatever might be the case, whatever the mayor recommended going back to November 22nd, 2017, we might be able to see what we're going to do there. But let's do something. Let's just sit here. We can still have public hearings. We can still have a walk. I think through the times I've been in city council for 2.5 terms now, and I've been to 2 walks there already since I've been here, just looking at the old buildings, looking at how things deteriorate in the middle of the winter, in the middle of one was in the summer, one was in I think it was the fall, it was a rainy day. So it wouldn't be my first time going up to Fernald, all the way from the south side. But I imagine it doesn't look any better than what it did 2 or 3 years ago. So my support is there for this study, for the non-CPA area, see what we're gonna do there. Because we owe it to our community, to the taxpayers, the money that's spent purchasing the property with a lot of great ideas. And now it's time for us to do something with it. So I will be supporting this. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. First time around, Councilor O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. President. I agree with the comments from the Ward 9 councilor. I think you hit the nail on the head. The citizens input hearing and the feasibility study are not mutually exclusive. You can have both of them. There was a site view. I remember, I think it was 3 years ago. I think it was November 17th. We took a site view. I think about a year ago, there was a focus group, like a charrette meeting at the First Parish, where several of us went down and participated. We broke into focus groups. There were 4 topics. There were lots of notes taken with flip charts. and information. I assume all that information has been sent to the committee for deliberation, but there were a lot of excellent ideas from various stakeholders in the community. So I think that information from those previous meetings would be part of the record, hopefully, that the committee has and will reference as we go forward. So again, I don't see them as mutually exclusive. I don't think if we approve the feasibility study that we're opposed to a citizens input hearing. I think we can have several citizen input hearings, and hopefully we'll move forward. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Ryan. Second time around. First on my list, Councilor LeBlanc.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I want to thank the Ward 4 Councilor for bringing up the fact of having a site visit. First off, you know, we can come in, people can come into the meetings and they can take out little maps and point to a 200-acre site that we can look at a little map and say, yeah, we're looking at this area and this area. Picture's worth 1,000 words, but a site visit's worth more. So I think we owe it to the neighbors, the constituents, the city officials, everyone involved when the feasibility study comes back. And this is only a vote for a study, that we go up there and actually see what we're talking about and where it is. As a small business owner, it's frustrating to see how government works in reverse. So it always floors me why we can't do things simultaneously. Schedule a site visit, schedule an input hearing, have the feasibility study going all simultaneously. And without that, things just get bogged down and take forever. So I will be, supporting this. This is just to see what's feasible. And, I respect the transparency that we owe to everybody. So I'm happy to see the site visit coming back on the feasibility study. So I will also be supporting this. And I thank the council from Ward 1 for making the motion.
Thank you, Councilor Blank. Second time around, Councilor Darcy.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. In a nutshell, the residents of North Waltham do not want the CPW facility moved to North Waltham. It's a waste of money to do a feasibility study when the residents of North Waltham do not want the CPW facility moved to their backyard. The site was zoned conservation recreation, which does not allow a CPW facility to operate there. It was rezoned decades ago by this city council in their wisdom to conservation/recreation at the wishes of the people of North Waltham. And due to the noise, the activity, the traffic, the lights of a DPW facility, such uses would be incompatible with the immediate neighbors of Fernald. The residents off of Waverly Oaks Road, on Phillips Circle, Parkview Road, Bishop's Terrace, Tip Top Terrace, Shawmut Road, to have trucks going in at all hours of the night during storms, noisy with their backup sound in their lights, and also would be incompatible with the other neighbor next to Fernald, which is the Eastern Girl Scouts of Boston, the Girl Scouts of Eastern Massachusetts. They have intercity girls come out during the week and the weekends to enjoy nature. And now you're going to be having a DPW facility that can be very noisy at times, operating adjacent to where the Girl Scouts are. And it's incompatible for future uses at Fernald, such as if we were to put housing at the Tarbell facility. Tarbell is about 250 feet away from the proposed site of the DPW. If we put a disability museum at the Howe Library, that's 300 feet from the proposed CPW facility. If we put art galleries at the laundry and the storeroom buildings, they are also about 300 feet away from the proposed CPW facility. The residents of Valley View and Oakley Lane have emailed me during the past few weeks, and they have expressed to me how disruptive the current CPW facility is on Lexington Street to their lives, to their homes, and to their families. And it's just incredible that we want to move a problem that's currently exists for the Valley View and Oakley Lane residents, only to move it to North Waltham to impact the residents on Waverly Oaks Road in the Girl Scouts of Eastern Massachusetts. We owe it as councilors to the residents of North Waltham to respect their wishes and not place the CPW facility at Fernald. That's what they want. They do not want a CPW facility at Fernald. That's why the land is zoned con rec. So I will not be supporting this in defense of my constituents and my friends and neighbors in North Waltham, and I hope that it fails.
Thank you, Councilor Stassi. Second time around, Councilor LaFosse.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you, I respect and I hear the words of the Ward 3 counselor. But I think we're putting the cart before the horse. Nowhere in my motion for a feasibility study does it state that we are going to be putting any of the things that you've stated on the land. We're just looking to see if one, two, or all of them are feasible or not feasible. We're trying to do our due diligence for our constituents. I've also had the opportunity, being in a butter of the property in Ward 1 and being able to speak to many a resident and friends that are both in Ward 3 and Ward 4. And upon further clarification, they understood what we were talking about. It's not the entire Fernald property. It's parcels 3A and 3B. They're the lower portions. That's where the old incinerator was. That is where the Fernald maintenance facility currently exists and is abandoned. But that being said, it's not about the Ward 6 residents near the DPW now and the potential for the DPW later. We're looking to see what we can do with this land and get answers, as opposed to just kind of kicking the ball down the road and doing nothing. I appreciate the sentiments of the other counselors. And I just hope that this passes so that we take a step in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor LaFosse. No further speakers. Councilor McLaughlin, second time around.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just very quickly, I just want to say to the Ward 3 counselor, obviously, all of those concerns are my concerns. But that being said, this same 50 acres, there was another feasibility study done for this same piece of property, and it was for the high school. And the high school's not going there. This feasibility study will give us a better idea of what we can do with the property. And if eventually it supports an idea of moving public works there, then begins a different conversation. It's a zoning conversation. It's an impact conversation. And it still does not make this a final decision. There's much work to be done on this. I just don't want to see us, as Councilor from Ward 1 said, putting the cart before the horse. So again, I'm going to support this. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor. The speakers, there being none. Councilor LaFosse, your motion is approval for a feasibility study with regards to, as the Council from Ward 7 had mentioned earlier, the uses of the portion of the non-CPA parcel of the former Fernald School for the CPW department, cemetery, and other uses on that parcel. Is that correct? Councilor LaFosse?
That is correct, Mr. President. And if you'd like for me to restate the motion for clarity, I will.
Please do.
My motion for approval is requesting the approval of the non-CPA parcel of the former Fernald School for CPW offices, city yard, cemetery, materials management area, and an area for parking city school buses.
You've all heard a sense of the motion. On the motion, All in favor,
Roll
say
call.
aye.
Call, please. Roll call, please.
Roll call.
Counselor,
Point of
Roll call.
information?
Counselor Darcy has called for the roll.
Point of information?
Counselor Blank, on a point of information.
Mr. President, or to the clerk, if we approve the feasibility study now, what remains on the docket for us to receive the feasibility study and set up the site visit? Does anything remain? Do we need to leave something on there?
This is approval of the feasibility study, but there are other matters docketed on the committee which will allow this matter to be brought forth, or the mayor, after the feasibility study is done, would submit those recommendations to the city council, which would be docketed for future discussion.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Councilor Darcy has made a motion for a roll call. On the roll. Clerk, call the roll.
President Brasco,
Yes.
Councilor Darcy,
No.
Councilor Dunn,
Yes.
Councilor Durkee,
Yes.
Councilor Harris,
Yes.
Councilor LaCava,
Yes.
Councilor LaFosse,
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc,
Yes.
Councilor Mackin,
No.
Councilor McLaughlin,
Yes.
Councilor O'Brien,
Yes.
Councilor Paz,
Yes.
Councilor Stanley,
Yes.
Councilor Vidal,
Yes.
12 in favor, 2 opposed. Motion passes.
By your action, you have approved the feasibility study. Vice President McMillan, would you like to reclaim the chair?
Mr. President, just real quick before the Vice President reclaims the chair. So just if we can send a request to the mayor to work with the clerk's office to schedule a site visit, which would be hand in hand with the feasibility study, I'd ask that that request be made.
On the request, you've all heard a sense of request. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object? The request is approved. It will be forwarded to the mayor along with the approval of the feasibility.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Madam Vice President, would you like to
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Yes, I would. Are there any other matters which any councils would like to take off the table before I move to ask that the committee of the whole docket as it exists right now is rolled over into the 2021 year? Are there any other matters? Seeing none. I will entertain a motion from Councilor Brasco that all of the matters on the committee of the whole docket be moved over to the year 2021. On that motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. I don't see any other matters on for me or for our committee to review this evening. So I would be happy to entertain a motion. And first of all, I want to thank the clerk for his support all through the year, and as well as the city clerk's office, in particular Clerk Vizard, who has helped us through some very difficult times with his technology competence in Zoom. And we've managed to get through several meetings, and that's to their credit and the credit of the members of the clerk's office who have helped us. So I thank you on behalf of our committee. I will take a motion from anyone who wishes to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Councilor McLaughlin made that motion. On the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I wish you all a better 2021. Happy New Year. Thank you.
Assistant City Clerk Vizard, if you would call out the next consecutive meetings that we'll be meeting.
So the next meeting we're going to do is Public Works. which would then be followed by veterans, because I don't believe long-term debt has any further business. They took care of everything before. So when Chairman LeBlanc's ready, we'll do Public Works.
Thank you very much. I'm ready.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, it is 9:44.
Thank you very much. I'd like to call the Public Works and Public Safety Committee meeting to order at 9:44 PM. If the clerk could please call the roll.
Yes, sorry. It's a loud motorcycle and I couldn't hear. Did you ask me to take attendance, Mr. Chairman?
That is correct.
Okay, so Public Works, Counselor Harris.
Present.
Counselor LaFosse.
Present.
Counselor Mackin.
Present.
Counselor O'Brien.
Present.
Chairman LeBlanc.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. Do we have minutes from the prior meeting to approve?
Trying to think, yes, you do, because you didn't meet the previous week, but we have, did you meet last week? No, right?
We did
2
not
weeks ago.
meet.
So there are minutes from that prior meeting.
All right, can you state the date?
Yep, it would be December 7th. December 7th.
Thank you very much. I entertain a motion to approve the minutes of December 7th.
So moved.
Counselor Harris, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You guys have it, all those opposed? Thank you very much. If the clerk could,
Mr. Chairman, you have no new matters before you.
there's no new matters, so at this time, the intention is to carry all the items over. We have a relatively small and well-managed docket in here, and I thank the committee members and their due diligence for keeping everything moving in this committee. So I'd entertain a motion to carry the 2020
Chairman?
over to 2021.
Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman, this is Councilor Darcy speaking.
Yes.
I'd like to file some of the matters.
Okay. We would welcome that. Mr. Darcy is off committee, correct? But you
Yes,
are
he
the
is.
maker of the motion, so Councilor Darcy has the floor.
I'd like to file the matter October 9th, 2018. It's the request to have Brennan, Carroll, Golden Crest, Priscilla, all those streets be resurfaced. Most of those streets have been done. And for the remaining 2 streets, we'll issue new petitions. So I'd like to file that matter dated October 9th, 2018. It's already 2 years old, so it's.
All right, you've all heard a sense of the motion. Any questions on it? Okay, all those in favor of filing that matter?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. That matter has been filed. Councilor Darcy, is there any others?
Yeah, there was one from 2017, Crestview. Again, we'll try to get another petition in the coming year, but that matter is 3 years old, so I'd like to file that.
Okay, you've all heard a sense of the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. That's been filed also.
Thank you. So the only 2 remaining matters, 3 that I have is Silver Hill Lane, which is going to be resurfaced next year. So I'd like to keep that on the table. Arcadia Ave in Demer Street. They haven't done the work to reduce the flooding, so I'd like to keep that. And then Eleanor Circle, they're still doing work on that in the springtime, so I'd like to keep that on the table. And I thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Darcy. With that, I entertain a motion to carry the.
Just quickly, Mr. Chairman, who made the motion to file? I just want to make sure I have that in my notes.
Councilor Darcy, they were his items.
I'm not on the committee, though.
He can't make the motion, though.
So, I entertain a motion for both of those. Did anyone make one?
I'll make that motion.
I'll make that motion. Go ahead.
Councilor Harris made the motion for the first one and Councilor Mackin for the second. Let's do the vote over. All those in favor of the Councilor Harris's motion?
Aye.
To file that?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. That motion's been filed. And then the second matter, Councilor Mackin has made a motion to file that matter. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Both of those have been tabled, filed, rather. And with no other business, I accept the motion to roll over the 2020 docket over to 2021.
I'll make that motion.
Councilor Fosse, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. And with no new business in front of us, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Councilor Fosse. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. We've adjourned at 9:49. Thank you very much.
Okay. So we have too many papers going on here. So it is, the next up would be the, Councilor Darcy, does the long-term debt committee need to meet?
No.
No. Okay, so the next meeting after that would be the Veteran Services Committee. So that would be Chairman Durkee and Clerk Magno.
I'm ready whenever you are.
All right, I'm ready. Chairman Durkee, I'll take a roll call for you.
Yeah, so on my iPad says the time is 9:50. Yeah, would you chair call? I'm sorry, would you, the clerk call the roll?
Councilor Carver.
Present.
Councilor LeBlanc.
Present.
Councilor O'Brien.
Present.
Councilor Stanley.
Present.
Chairman Durkee.
Present.
So Chairman Durkee, we've got 3 items we need approval on. We have the minutes of October 19th. We've got 2 items to be brought forward, and then we need a motion to adjourn.
Okay, so will someone make a motion to approve the minutes of the October 19th meeting?
So moved.
All right, Councilor LeBlanc makes a motion to approve the October 19th meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. So the meeting minutes have been approved. Do we have a motion to carry over the 2 items into 2021, to 2 agenda items?
So
I'll
moved.
make the motion.
All right, Councilor LaCava makes the motion to carry the 2 agenda items into 2021. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the ayes have it. So the 2 agenda items will carry into 2021. Let's see here. Okay, so thank you, everyone. This is my first year as being a chair. I know there's no matter on the table, but I appreciate everyone dealing with my newness. I do appreciate it. There's some there's some items. We got a lot of information in our last meeting, so there's a lot of work to work on. So thank you. So I will now at this point make a motion to adjourn.
I'll
I'm
make
sorry.
that motion.
I'm sorry. So Councilor Cavill makes a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. The ayes have it. So the Veterans Committee meeting adjourns at 9:52 p.m. Is that all we need, Mr. Clerk?
That is it, Chairman Durkee.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, Councilor Vidal, are you ready to do licenses and franchises? Chairman Vidal?
He looks frozen.
He looks frozen. Okay. You want me to call it to order and elect a chair?
Sure.
Okay. Licenses and Franchises Committee will come to order at 9:53.
Thank you very much. With the,
Oh, there you are.
I'm here. I just went to get some more water. Sorry.
Okay, 9:53. You got to call the meeting to order now, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Thank you very much. The License Franchise Committee come to order. With the clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, we have Councilor Dunn,
Present.
Councilor McLaughlin,
Present.
Councilor O'Brien,
Present.
Councilor Stanley,
Present.
Chairman Vidal.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, all 5 members are present.
Thank you very much. Do we have minutes from last meeting, Mr. Clerk?
You don't.
We don't. All right. So we're not gonna choose those, but we do have 3 items on the agenda, correct?
You do. So the first item is a grant a location at Beaver Street for Verizon. I don't see Mr. Foreman on the line anymore. He might not have known to stick around.
Okay. Should we proceed with this? I imagine we do have to proceed with this one, right? I mean, we already, all of us were present during his testimony. Let me see.
Mr. Chairman, through you
Yes.
to the Ward 6 Councilor, because I believe most of the work is going to be on the Ward 6 side of Beaver Street. So through you to the Ward 6 Councilor. Councilor, are you okay with this moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. It seems very pretty non-destructive and not even going into the street. I would support moving this forward.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chairman, so, and I think there were comments made about the traffic and the need for a police detail and the concerns about that intersection. I think he took that back with him, so I'm comfortable moving approval on this.
All right. Are you making a motion for approval?
Yes.
Okay. On the motion for approval, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. The ayes have it. Thank you. What do we have next, Mr. Clerk?
You have 2 extended hours, J&J and the Monell, which is the Gulf Station.
Okay. I did have a conversation with the Ward 5 Councilor. That's where J&J Variety is located. I don't know if he wants to say a few words, but other than that, Mr. Clerk, we have all the paperwork submitted. Everything is good from their end.
Yep.
All right. Guess I'll make a motion to hear from all our committee members. Please.
Move to hear from all off-committee members, Mr. Chairman.
All right. On the motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The ayes have it. Thank you. Councilor LaCava, you want to say a few words about
yes.
the owners of
Mr.
J&J
Chair.
Variety?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to make note that ever since this pandemic has come through, they reached out early on. They own another convenience store down the road. Veronica's both reside in Ward 5. Very active in giving back to the community and asking how and what they can do. So I just want to make sure that's noted in their file. Very into giving back to the city as of late. And I believe we actually just swore their son into the ambulance committee as well last week as another example of them and their family giving back to this city. So I would like to just also make note of that in their file and give my full blessing.
Thank you very much, Councilor LaCava. Would someone make the motion for approval, please?
So moved.
All right, motion for approval on the table. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say
Aye.
no. The ayes have it. Thank you. And Mr. Clerk, we have one more, correct?
Yeah, the Gulf Station, Monell Enterprises.
Okay, thank you very much. I imagine we have all the paperwork submitted from Mr. Michael.
Yep.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move approval.
All right. On the motion for approval, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, do you have anything on the agenda for tonight? Anything else on the agenda or I think that's it, right?
That's it. Otherwise, I think you just need to roll your items to the future.
All right, sounds good. Could someone make a motion to bring all the items to the new year for 2021, please?
So moved.
So moved.
All right. On the motion, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Anything else, Mr. Clerk?
That's it.
All right. And what is the wish of the committee?
Move we adjourn.
All right, Councilor Stanley makes a motion to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. The
Aye.
ayes have it. We adjourn at 9:58 p.m. Thank you very much.
Okay, next up, I have Economic and Community Development, if Chair Harris and Clerk Wilson are available.
We're ready. Clerk Wilson, you ready?
I'm ready. Hi
Okay.
there.
Oh, hi. Hi, nice to see you. The chair will call the Community and Economic Development to order on Monday, December 28th at 9:58 p.m. The clerk will call the roll.
Chairwoman Harris,
Present.
Councilor Darcy,
Present.
Councilor Durkee,
Present.
Councilor LaCava,
Present.
Councilor Paz.
Present.
Chair, you have a quorum.
Great.
And
Thank
there are
you.
no minutes to approve. We're all set with minutes. So our first item, I think, from earlier tonight's meeting was the more robust website resolution.
Okay, so that is our first matter before us.
Make a motion to hear from all off-committee members.
Councilor LaCava makes a motion to hear from all off-committee members. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. The chair recognizes off-committee member O'Brien.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I was just wondering if we
Thank you.
could invite in Mr. O'Coin for the next meeting, I think, which will occur, looks like January 19th.
Okay.
If we could
Councilor
bring him
LaCava,
in.
will you make it? Yep. We need an on-committee member to make that request for you in writing. Councilor LaCava, will you do that for us?
Sure.
Will you make that request in writing? Sorry, Councilor LaCava?
Yes.
Okay, great. So it is to hear from, on the request, it is Councilor LaCava makes a request on behalf of off-committee member Councilor O'Brien, the maker of the resolution, to bring in the IT director, Donnie O'Coin, to answer questions about how to make our city's websites more welcoming and informative. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, the ayes have it. Is there anything else, Councilor O'Brien?
No, if you could put it back on the table, that'd be great. Thank you.
Councilor LaCava, if I may, would you make a motion to lay that matter back on the
Motion to lay
table?
that matter back on the table.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. The ayes have it. Are there any new matters, Clerk Wilson?
That is it. That was the only new matter.
Okay. This
Move to
committee has
take-
been very busy in 2020. And at this point, I will direct this committee to do what we do every year, which is some housekeeping items. Like I said, this committee has been very busy. We've brought a lot of speakers in, did some informative work, and you know, there are items on the docket that are really prepped to be filed. At the end of the filing, I'll call on each counselor to see if there's any matters on the docket that they wish to file without prejudice, which allows them to bring it back in a fresh perspective or in a new way as times are changing. That being said, to keep this format expedited, I will call on counselors individually and see if you're ready to file. And then at the end of the filing, and every counselor has been able to bring forward their matters, then I will make a motion to basically carry over the rest of our docket. And there's a couple of motions to do that. I will start off tonight. The chair recognizes Councilor Darcy. Councilor Darcy, do you wish to
Move
make
to
a
take
motion
the
to
matter
file
called
any of your...
bicycle sharing resolution off the table dated May the 9th, 2016.
Thank you, Councilor Darcy. Makes a motion to take the matter of bicycle sharing off the table dated May 9th, 2016. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The matter is before us. Councilor Darcy.
Yes, this matter is 4 years old and the whole bicycle sharing scheme have changed. So I would like to file this without prejudice.
Thank you, Councilor Darcy. I know you're a big proponent of bike sharing and bike racks. I've worked with you a lot on those. Councilor Darcy makes a motion to file the bike sharing resolution without prejudice. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? That matter is filed. Councilor Darcy, do you have another matter?
I don't at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. Councilor Durkee, do you wish to take anything off the table and act on it in filing?
Yes, I'd like to take the city calendar resolution off the table.
Sure. Councilor Durkee makes the motion to take the city calendar resolution off the table, which is dated 9/23/2019. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That matter is before us. Councilor Durkee.
I'd like to file this, the city calendar resolution without prejudice.
Okay. Councilor Durkee makes a motion to file without prejudice the city calendar resolution. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? The matter is filed. Councilor Durkee, do you have any other matters?
No, thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much for your service on this committee this year. The chair recognizes Councilor LaCava. Councilor LaCava, do you have any items that you wish to clear from our docket?
Yeah, could I take the river cleanup resolution for dated 1/14/2019 off the table, please?
Councilor LaCava makes a motion to take that matter off the table. River cleanup. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? The ayes have it. That is before us.
Thank you. Before I make a motion to file, I do just want to comment on this. Thanks to State Rep Stanley, he got us a meeting with the powers to be at the DCR. We had the Director of Public Works and the Assistant Director of Public Works on the line as well. We had a fairly informative meeting. This was prior to COVID. With that being said, a lot of the budget cuts and hiring freezes, since those have come through, speaking to Mr. Chasen of CPW, he has stated that it'd be very hard for them to take on this added role at this time. So for that reason, I do want to file this without prejudice because it is something we could bring back in the future. But currently, with the state of the city, the budget of the CPW and their workforce, it is not something that they could undertake at this time.
So Councilor LaCava makes a motion, and I misspoke earlier, called it the river cleanup. It's the river walk cleanup resolution dated 1/14/2019. Makes a motion to file without prejudice. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? That matter is filed. Councilor LaCava, do you have any other matters?
No, I am all set. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Paz, do you have any matters you wish to file?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Move to take off the affordable housing resolution off the table.
Councilor Paz makes a motion to take the affordable housing resolution off the table dated 1/27/2020. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Matter is before us. Councilor Paz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I believe we received that information from the Housing Division, and now we have a more involved report coming out of the ad hoc committee, Affordable Housing Ad hoc Committee. So I move to file this without prejudice.
Councilor Paz makes a motion to file the affordable housing resolution without prejudice dated 1/27/2020. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? The ayes have it. That matter is filed. Councilor Paz, do you have another matter?
That'll be it, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your work on this committee this year. Like I said, this committee has been very busy. Okay, at this point, I make a motion to act on all matters collectively that are currently on our docket, not filed in tonight's meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Those matters are before us, and I make a motion to move all matters to roll over to the docket of 2021. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those matters are rolled over. Clerk Wilson, is there anything else before this committee?
That is it.
Okay, before I entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you very much for allowing me to serve as your chair this year. Like I said, this was a very active committee, and I'm very proud of the work that everybody has brought forward and the energy that they brought forward with it, and there's a lot to do in 2021. At this point, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Councilor Durkee makes a motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 The ayes have it. We are adjourned this evening on 12/28 at 10:07 p.m. Thank you and Happy New Year.
Okay, next up is the Finance Committee. So that would be Chairman LaCava and Clerk Santafanti.
Good evening, Clerk Senafani. Are you ready?
Chairman, ready when you are.
The time is 10:08. I call the Finance Committee meeting to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilor LaFosse,
Present.
Councilor Mackin,
Present.
Councilor McMiniman,
Present.
Councilor Vidal,
Present.
Chairman LaCava.
Present. Madam Dean, makes a motion to accept the minutes from 12/21/2020. On that motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. That the minutes are approved. Clerk Senafani, do we have anything else before us at this moment?
Nothing before us, Mr. Chair. There is one matter that's still on the table.
And that is,
I'm sorry, the 7 neighborhood streets proposal.
with that, Councilor Fosse makes a motion to move all matters on the table to 2021. You've all heard a sense of the motion. On the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It has been rolled over.
Make a motion that, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Madam Dean makes a motion to adjourn at 10:09 PM. On the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. Thank you for a great year.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Chairman McLaughlin, are you ready?
I am. Mr. Clerk, if you take the roll, I call the Ordinances and Rules Committee to order and ask the clerk to take the roll.
Okay, it is 10:10. The roll. Counselor Darcy.
Present.
Counselor Dunn.
Present.
Counselor Harris.
Present.
Counselor LeBlanc.
Present.
Chairman McLaughlin.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, 5 members are present, so you have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Do we have minutes before us? I only have the docket in front of me.
Yeah, no, I did not, between Christmas and everything else.
Yep, no, understood. Can you please read the first new matter?
The first new matter is a zoning ordinance amendment related to tea shops. It was presented by Councilor LaCava and Councilor LeBlanc.
Councilor LeBlanc, would you like to speak on this?
Yeah, thank you very much. As we all heard in the public hearing, was a zone change to try to keep up with the times and to try to help keep the storefronts full in our community. And the tea shops are, as you go up, we have 2 of them in the community and there's always a line in front of them now. So as we move forward with the pandemic and trying to keep businesses thriving, it made sense to elaborate this and expand it into the rest of the areas. I think it's in business zone C now. So we extended it to a few more uses and we had some good input in the public hearing. And the question to you as the chairman, what is the next step? Can we send a request to the law department to draft this, or do we have to wait for the planning board to come back with their review?
So as I asked the clerk earlier, we can move ahead while the planning board has their meeting scheduled, I believe, for the 6th. We could send this out for a first reading and also send it to the law department. Before we go there, though, are you done with your comments, Councilor LeBlanc?
I am.
Councilor LeBlanc moves to hear from all off-committee members. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Councilor LaCava, did you want to add anything?
I don't have anything in particular to add. I'm just here in case, waiting for council, but any questions from this committee, I'm happy to answer, as I would love to see this move forward for first reading and sent to law committee tonight, if at all possible.
Great. Thank you, Councilor. Questions, comments from the committee? What is the wish of the committee?
I'd like to make a request that we send it to the law department and put it out for a first reading.
Councilor LeBlanc moves that this goes out for a first reading. All those in favor say aye.
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 The ayes have it. Councilor LeBlanc moves to send this to the law department for review. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor LeBlanc. Thank you, Councilor LaCava. Clerk Vazad, if you can read the next new matter.
Zoning ordinance amendment related to marijuana.
We've made a motion to hear from off-committee members. So Attorney Connors, you're here. Would you like to add anything to what your presentation was earlier?
No, Mr. Chairman. I think hopefully everyone remembers that a couple hours ago, but we're pretty much looking to just revise the definition of medical marijuana so it'll conform to the state statute and the Code of Mass Regulations, which permits for-profit corporations to own a medical marijuana treatment center.
Any questions or comments from the committee?
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Question as to the host agreement. I believe the host agreement, I'm going from memory on this, it's been a while, but the original host agreement, I think it was up to, they paid taxes on up to $125,000. Is that correct? Maybe the Attorney Connors could comment on that.
Well, the host agreement is not about taxes. It's a payment to the city and based on how much we sell. So it's separate and distinct from taxes. So it's in lieu of the city's expenditures for the benefit of the medical marijuana facility, we were obligated to make payments to them. So I think if you recall, or maybe you don't, but in the special permit, I think we put in there a base number of 150,000 per year, a max number of 300,000, but it's really up to the mayor to kind of finalize that. But it's separate and distinct from any taxes.
All right, and it's based on how much you sell. So becoming from a nonprofit status to a profit status, are you going to have increased revenue and sales from this move you're making today?
No, I mean, the sales will be what the sales are, you know, so I think the draft of the host community agreement is either we're going to pay a percentage based on how much we make. So this won't affect that at all because it's based on what's the volume of sales. I mean, Ed, if you could join in on that, but I don't think it really makes any difference whatsoever. It's really just how we structure the corporation as opposed to how we classify the sales.
That's correct. This is dealing with the operations of the entity, not the host agreement and the agreement to pay the city.
Mr. Bartlett, can you just ID yourself, please?
Oh, sure. It's Ed Bartlett, 78 Irving Street, Norwood, Mass.
Great,
I'm
thank
the
you.
CFO of Middlesex Integrative Medicine.
Thank you.
So the reason to turn this into a for-profit entity is operations. It doesn't affect the payments to be required under the host agreement.
Is this going to increase or decrease the amount of marijuana sales that take place on that site?
No, this has no effect on that. This only affects the operations of the entity to have shareholders who are identified, which we don't have now because of the status as a 180 corporation.
Now, if it was to remain a nonprofit, what happens? I guess this is more of a technical question. What happens to the profits? They go back into the company, or how does that work? Are they going to salaries?
No, the whole label nonprofit is really a mislabel in this context because a nonprofit entity is really for charitable entities and things that aren't in a business setting like this is. What we are now is a corporation, and we're taxed for federal and state purposes like any major corporation. It's called a C corporation. So they have to be owners and have a for-profit entity own it. We could convert it to a subchapter S corporation or an LLC, a more efficient business enterprise than the one that's in place now. But it doesn't affect the sales or it doesn't affect the host agreement. The entity as a legal matter stays in place.
Excellent. Thank you. No further questions this time.
Other questions from the committee or comments? And again, Attorney Connors, I just wanted to, just rehash what we covered already. This is medical marijuana only, correct?
Correct.
And this is a change in the definition because back in 2015, we used the state as a guideline for what we use for language for definitions. That changed in 2017, and our language dates back to 2015, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
And then Okay, those are the only comments I had. What's the wish of the committee? Oh, Council Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I made some comments in the public hearing. I asked for some definitions in writing. Attorney for the petitioner said that he would provide that. I just want to make sure that that's provided for our next rules and ordinances committee and distributed to us. So I just appreciate that. I want to put that out there. If there are no other questions from committee members, I would make a motion to table.
Very good. Attorney Connors, you're going to provide that information?
Yes, I'll provide, I've already drafted the letter, so I'll have that out to you, but that'll be I'm going to include the old or the current definition, the proposed definition with red lines showing you what's different than the old, and then I'll actually take the current definition in black line it to show you, what we're taking out, and the red lines will show you what we're putting in, and then I'll also give you a copy of the definition as provided in the Code of Mass Regulations.
That's
So you got
great.
all three.
We like visual aids and ordinances and rules. Thank you very much. So the motion is to table. If all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Attorney Connors. Thank you, Mr. Bartlett.
Thank you.
Clerk Vazad, if you could read the next matter.
That's it for new matters, Mr. Chairman.
Any?
Unless I missed something.
Sorry?
Unless I missed something.
Nope, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Is there anything that the committee would like to take off the table?
Move to take off the resolution concerning aiding restaurants and small businesses off the table, dated May the 26th, 2020.
Councilor Darcy moves to take the resolution from May 26, 2020, resolution concerning aiding restaurants and small businesses from the table. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Councilor Darcy.
Yes, we had sent this resolution to the License Commission, and they had made their decision concerning the license fees. So at this point, and I know that Councilor O'Brien is on this resolution, but I would like to file it as the matter is over.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
We can hear from off committee members. Councilor O'Brien?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Thank you.
Okay, great. So the motion is to file the matter from 5/26/20 concerning aiding restaurants and small businesses. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank
And
you.
I would like to move to take the resolution regarding zoning around the reservoir dated December 28th, 2015 off the table.
Gotta turn the page to find that. Resolution from December 28th, 2015 regarding zoning around the reservoir. Move to take that from the table. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Councilor Darcy.
So that matter is 5 years old. We asked for the meets and bounds on the 700-acre plus property known as the Cambridge Reservoir, but we have not received those meets and bounds. So in that sense, I would move to file without prejudice.
You've heard a sense of the motion to file without prejudice. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it.
Move to take resolution regarding measurement of building height dated June 9th, 2014 off the table.
You've heard a sense of the motion. The resolution from June 9th, 2014, taking it from the table. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Councilor Darcy.
Move to file without prejudice.
Councilor Darcy moves to file that matter without prejudice. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it.
Move to take the resolution regarding bicycle parking requirements dated February 10th, 2014 off the table.
You've heard a sense of the motion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Councilor Darcy.
Move to file without prejudice.
You've heard a sense of the motion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it.
Move to take the resolution earth moving ordinance dated May 10th, 2010 off the table.
You've heard a sense of the motion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Councilor Darcy.
Move to file without prejudice.
You've heard a sense of the motion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Are you good, Councilor Darcy?
Yeah, there's one other one, which is the Kennedy Shriver Malone Municipal Zoning District Resolution. That's 3 years old. I'd like to take that off the table.
Councilor Darcy moves to take that matter from the table, dated 3/27/17. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Councilor Darcy.
Move to file without prejudice.
Councilor Darcy moves to file that matter without prejudice. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Darcy. Any other action that the any other action the committee would like to take? Do I have
Mr. Chairman,
Councilor O'Brien off committee?
yeah, if someone on committee could file my resolutions deadline resolution from February 24th, given the way things are with COVID now and having the Zoom meetings, I don't think it's really relevant anymore. So I'm fine filing that if someone will file it for me.
So moved. Councilor Blank.
Councilor Blank moves that we file the matter from 2/24/20 resolutions deadline, and that matter be filed, although without prejudice. Correct, Councilor O'Brien?
Right. Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc makes that motion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you.
And then I ask if the same thing for the one right below that recuse resolution, 224. If we could file without prejudice, that'd be great.
So moved.
Councilor LeBlanc moves that the matter from 2/24/20, the recused resolution be filed without prejudice. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor O'Brien. Any other matters? I'll entertain a resolution to roll over all of the matters to calendar year 2021.
So moved.
Councilor Dunn moves that all the matters on the docket be rolled over to calendar year 2021. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. What's the wish of the committee?
Move to adjourn.
Councilor Blank moves that we adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Thank you for a great year, guys. It's been tough, but we've got a lot of work done. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, you're still on deck. And Clerk Magno, I think, is taking over for the Fernald Committee, which will be our last committee of the evening.
Very good. Clerk Magno, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I call the Fernal Use Committee to order and ask the clerk to take the roll.
Councilor Darcy,
Present.
Councilor LeBlanc,
Present.
Councilor Harris,
Present.
Councilor Carver,
Present.
Chairman McLaughlin.
Present. Thank you. If the clerk could read, we have several new matters that are coming in. If the clerk could read those.
Okay, yeah, we have 8 new matters. So I'll start with the oldest one. 6 of them are dated November 23rd. So the first one is a resolution from Councilor Darcy, resolution concerning security at the Fernald.
Councilor Darcy.
Sorry about that. Yes, I have one request on that. Request that the superintendent of public buildings, Inspector Forte, repair the roofs at Howe Library and the schoolhouse and notify the use committee in writing when they are completed. That's my request.
You've heard a sense of the request. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Move to table that matter.
Counselor Darcy moves to table that matter. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. If the clerk could read the next matter.
Second resolution by Council Darcy concerning viticulture and solar power at the Fernal.
Counselor Darcy.
Move to table.
Counselor Darcy moves to table that matter at this time. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. If the clerk could read the next new matter.
Resolution by Council Darcy, resolution concerning a pollination pavilion at the Fernal.
Counselor Darcy.
Move to file that. Not to file, sorry, to table. Sorry.
Counselor Darcy moves to table that matter at this time. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk, the next one.
Resolution from Council Darcy concerning an acquisition center at the Fernal.
Counselor Darcy.
I think you skipped one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I already labeled that number 4. Resolution by Council Darcy concerning access to the Fernal for the Forest Street residents.
Yes, and for
Counselor
that,
Darcy. Good.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have one request, a request to the Recreation Department to confirm that they have care and control over the 15-acre Forest Street parcel. It's called Forest Park parcel, sorry.
You've heard a sense of the request. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Move to table that matter.
Counselor Darcy moves to table the resolution concerning access to the Fernal for Forest Street residents. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk, if you could read the next.
All right, number 5 again, resolution by Council Darcy concerning a Brazilian center at the Fernal.
Counselor Darcy.
Thank you. I intend to actually invite, not at this time, but I will in January invite some horse people in to speak to us about the potential for horse therapy and horse riding at the Fernal. Until that time, I move just to table the matter.
Counselor Darcy moves to table this matter at this time. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Mr. Clerk, if you could read the next one.
All right, we'll go to the last resolution by Councilor Darcy. Nope, 2 more. Resolution concerning housing at the Fernal.
Counselor Darcy.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is regarding potentially having housing for veterans, seniors, and people with special needs at 2 buildings at the Fernal, the Marquardt facility, also known as THOM, T-H-O-M, Tom, and the Tarbell building. Marquardt is in the CPA and Tarbell is in the non-CPA. They're the best buildings for potentially for housing. The Marquardt was inhabited as only in 2014. There's been some destruction inside, but what I would like to request is that the superintendent of public buildings, Mr. Forte, provide a written report by the end of January 2021 of the status of the structural integrity of Tarbell in Marquardt, as well as notes on the status of roofing, gutters, windows, doors, HVAC, and any other pertinent matters in that for us to potentially lease these buildings out for housing. And again, in that request, if they could get that back to us by the end of January, that'd be very much appreciated. That's my request.
Thank you, Councilor Darcy. Just to add to that, so Marquardt was the skilled nursing facility that was on the site that actually, and correct me if I'm wrong, Councilor Darcy, I think they actually, they continued to use that through 2016.
Yes, they did.
And then Tarbell was also home to what was known as Sanders Lodge.
Correct.
And it was an emergency shelter for families that was in use right up until close to when we purchased the property. So you've heard a sense of the request. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Move to table.
The ayes have it. Thank you. Counselor Darcy moves to table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk, can you jump over to the last one that's Counselor Darcy's, and then I just want to talk about the mayor's request that's on our docket?
Sure. A request from Council Darcy dated December 14th, securing historic buildings at the Fernald resolution.
Counselor Darcy.
Right, my request has already been made for the, on the other resolution that's kind of similar, and that's to repair the roofs at Howe Library and the schoolhouse and any other buildings that need roof repaired so that the water doesn't enter the buildings. But I've already made that request, so I move to table that matter.
Counselor Darcy moves to table that last matter from 12/14/20. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. So, Mr. Clerk, I just want to, this 11/23/20 matter that's been sent to us, Mayor respectfully requests a response in support or not in support of interested party possibly pursuing to rent or buy the McLaughlin building at 475 Trapella Road for educational use. Now, that administrative building is actually on the old Met State property. So was that meant to come to us or meant to go to the committee of the whole?
I'm not sure, Mr. Chairman.
Point of information.
Counselor Darcy.
Yeah, it was the president of the city council that directed that matter to the Fernal Use Committee because it included both the McLaughlin building and or the Fernald, I believe, in the communication from the mayor.
Okay.
So that's why the president sent it to this committee.
Okay, so I just read that. So if I'd entertain a motion for us to accept that and table that.
I'll make a motion to accept it, and I'd like to make a request that goes along with that.
Counselor Darcy.
Thank you. So the request is that the Fernald Use Committee clerk provide the committee with any and all deed and conservation restrictions for the Met State site. And the reason why I'm asking him to pull these documents out, because there are restrictions on what we can and cannot do at the Met State site, and we need to read those documents and understand clearly what can and can't be done. Thank you. That's my request.
You've heard
Mr. Chairman, I'll need that in writing because I'll need to forward that to other people for assistance.
Yep, Counselor Darcy will get that to you.
Absolutely.
You've heard a sense of the request. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. And I
Opposed? The matter carries. Counselor Darcy.
And I move to table that matter. Thank you.
Counselor Darcy moves to table that matter. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Those were the open items on the docket. What is the wish of the committee?
Councilor McLaughlin?
Yep, Counselor LeBlanc.
I'd like to take the matter dated 3/11/2019 off the table.
3/11/2019. Leaf composting from the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Counselor LeBlanc.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I would like to make a request that we send a copy of the resolution over to the mayor because it is 2 years old now. And as she's contemplating different uses and areas, I just think we should refresh her memory of this idea and thought. So I'd like to make a request. We just send a copy of the resolution to the mayor.
And I'd ask that you give that request in writing to the clerk. You've heard a sense of the motion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Move to lay that matter back on the table.
Counselor LeBlanc moves to lay the matter back on the table. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it.
Take the
Counselor
matter.
Darcy.
Thank you. Take the matter of establishing a national museum commemorating the developmentally disabled off the table dated 10/24/2016.
10/24/2016 art gallery? No.
Oh, the museum for the developmentally disabled.
10/24/2016, creating a playground, a museum for the developmentally disabled. From the table, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You
Aye.
guys have it. Councilor
Thank you.
Johnson.
Just like the last speaker had stated, I'd like to have a copy of this sent to the mayor because there was agreement in many community meetings that the city would allocate one building, either the admin or Howe Hall, or West Building, but certainly admin or Howe Hall are in the best shape for a national museum commemorating the developmentally disabled. So the request is to send a copy of that resolution to the mayor.
You've heard a sense of the request. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Move to table.
Councilor Darcy moves to place that matter back on the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it. I will entertain a motion to roll these matters over to calendar year 2021.
So moved.
Councilor LaCava makes that motion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. What is the wish of the committee?
Move to adjourn.
Councilor LeBlanc moves to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's Clerk Waddick and President Brasco again. Are you, Clerk Waddick and President Brasco, are you ready?
I am ready, Mr. Assistant Clerk and Mr. President. I've been following all the committee meetings and we're ready with committee reports.
If the clerk is ready to go, then we will move forward with the second half of the city council on this last evening of 2020. Waltham City Council will come back to order at 10:40 p.m. on Zoom. Clerk Waddick.
All right, Mr. President, committee reports, starting with the Committee of the Whole. The Committee of the Whole recommends approval of a feasibility study for non-CPA parcel of the former Fernald School for the CPW department for the following uses: city yard, cemetery, materials management area, and area for parking of school buses.
Council McLaughlin, who's the action committee, the action council, all in favor, say.
A roll call, please.
Councilor Darcy has requested a roll call. Clerk, call the roll.
I recuse myself, please.
Let the record reflect that Vice President McMahon
Thank you very
recuses
much.
herself with regards to this matter. Clerk, call the roll. I think the Vice President really left the building.
Use oil.
George A. Darcy III,
No.
Karen Dunn,
Yes.
Sean T. Durkee,
Yes.
Kathy Ann Harris,
Yes.
Joseph P. LaCava,
Yes.
Anthony LaFosse,
Yes.
Randall J. LeBlanc, Christine A. Mackin,
No.
John J. McLaughlin,
Yes.
Kathleen B. McMenamin.
I am
Oh,
recused.
recused. I apologize.
That's all right. Thank you.
Patrick J. O'Brien,
Yes.
Jonathan Paz,
Yes.
Thomas M. Stanley,
Yes.
Carlos A. Vidal.
Yes.
I have, Mr. President, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in favor, 1 recused, 2 opposed, and 1 abstained.
Counselor?
Councilor Blank.
Yeah, I had a little technical difficulties here. Am I allowed to vote at this point in time?
Yeah, I
Yes, you
didn't.
are.
Yes.
Council,
Vote
okay.
yes.
Thank
Council
you.
Blank
1,
is in
2,
the
3, 4,
affirmative.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in favor, 2 opposed, 1 recused.
By your action, you have approved the feasibility study. Clerk, continue.
All right. The Committee of the Whole recommends that all remaining items on its docket from 2020 be carried over to the committee docket of 2021.
Vice President Rickman moves the action committee be the action of the council. Roll all matters over. On the motion, all in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object? All matters are rolled over. Clerk, continue.
The Public Works Committee recommends that the item regarding 17-80 Crestview be placed on file.
Without prejudice.
That wasn't stated in the motion, but I'll add that, without prejudice.
As amended. Councilor Randy LeBlanc moves the action committee be the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object? There being none. Matter to file without prejudice.
Public Works Committee recommends that the matter regarding requests for City Council to hold Brennan, Carroll, Golden Crest, Priscilla, Mountain, Crestview, Midland streets to discuss the betterments in the process going forward and for all the residents to be notified of the hearing be placed on file without prejudice.
Councilor LeBlanc moves the action committee be the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object? There being none, the matter is. Wow.
Public Works Committee recommends that all remaining matters on its docket from 2020 be carried over to the committee docket of 2021.
Councilor Randy LeBlanc moves the action committee be the action of the council. Roll all the matters over to 2021 council docket. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose or object? Matter is approved. Clerk, continue.
The Veteran Services Committee recommends that all items on its docket from 2020 be carried over to the committee docket of 2021.
Councilor Durkee moves the action committee be the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose or object? There being none, the matters on the docket for the Veteran Services Committee will be rolled over to 2021. Clerk, continue.
License and Franchises Committee recommends that the grant of location for Verizon New England Incorporated for a conduit on Beaver Street be approved.
Councilor Vidal moves the action committee be the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose or object? There being none, the matter is approved.
The Licenses and Franchises Committee recommends that the extended hours renewal for J&J Variety at 851 Main Street be approved.
Councilor Vidal moves the action committee be the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose or object? The matter is approved.
The Licenses and Franchises Committee recommends that the extended hours renewal for Waltham Gulf Manel Enterprises, Inc. at 821 Main Street be approved.
Councilor Vidal moves the action committee be the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose or object? Matter is approved.
The Licenses and Franchises Committee recommends that all remaining items on its docket from 2020 be carried over to the committee docket of 2021.
Councilor Vidal moves the action committee be the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose or object? There being none, the matters will be referred to the 2021 docket of the License Franchise Committee. Clerk, continue.
Economic and Community Development Committee. The Economic and Community Development Committee recommends that the bicycle sharing resolution be placed on file without prejudice.
Councilor Harris moves the action committee be the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose or object? The ayes have it. The matter is approved without prejudice.
The Economic and Community Development Committee recommends that the River Walk cleanup resolution be placed on file without prejudice.
Councilor Harris moves the action committee be the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object? There being none, the matter is approved without prejudice. Clerk, continue.
The Economic and Community Development Committee recommends that the city calendar resolution be placed on file without prejudice.
Councilor Harris moves the action committee be the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose or object? Matter is approved without prejudice.
The Economic and Community Development Committee recommends that the affordable housing resolution be placed on file without prejudice.
Councilor Harris moves the action committee be the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose or object? Matter is filed without prejudice.
The Economic and Community Development Committee recommends that all remaining items on its docket from 2020 be carried over to the committee docket of 2021.
Councilor Harris moves the action committee be the action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object? All the matters will be carried over to the 2021 docket of the Economic Community Development Committee. Clerk, continue.
Okay. Finance Committee. The Finance Committee recommends that all items on its docket from 2020 be carried over to the committee docket of 2021.
Councilor Calvin moves the action committee. The action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose or object? There being none, the matters of the Finance Committee were rolled over to the 2021 docket of the Finance Committee. Clerk, continue.
Ordinances and rules. The Ordinances and Rules Committee recommends that the zoning amendment regarding the use of tea shop be given a first reading.
Council McLaughlin moves the action committee. The action of the council for the first reading. On the motion, all in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object? There being none, Council McLaughlin, you wish to place this matter on the table or refer it back to committee?
I prefer to refer it back to committee. Thank you.
Council McLaughlin makes a motion to refer the matter back to committee. On the motion to refer, all in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object? The matter is referred back to the Ordinance and Rules Committee.
The Ordinances and Rules Committee recommends that the resolution regarding the earth moving ordinance be placed on file without prejudice.
Council McLaughlin moves the action committee. The action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose or object? There being none, the matter is filed.
Ordinances and Rules Committee recommends the resolution regarding bicycle parking requirements be placed on file without prejudice.
Council McLaughlin moves the action committee. The action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object? There being none, the matter is placed on file without prejudice. Clerk, continue.
Ordinances and Rules Committee recommends the resolution regarding measurement of building height be placed on file without prejudice.
Council McLaughlin moves the action committee. The action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object? The matter is filed without prejudice. Clerk, continue.
Ordinances and Rules Committee recommends the resolution regarding zoning around the reservoir be placed on file without prejudice.
Council McLaughlin moves the action committee. The action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object? There being none, the matter is filed without prejudice. Clerk, continue.
Ordinances and Rules Committee recommends the Kennedy Shriver Malone Municipal Zoning District Resolution be placed on file without prejudice.
Council McLaughlin moves the action committee. The action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object? Matter is placed on file without prejudice. Clerk, continue.
Ordinances and Rules Committee recommends that the resolution's deadline resolution be placed on file without prejudice.
Council McLaughlin moves the action committee. The action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object? Matter is placed on file without prejudice. Clerk, continue.
Ordinances and Rules Committee recommends that the recuse resolution be placed on file without prejudice.
Council McLaughlin moves the action committee. The action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose or object? Matter is placed on file without prejudice. Clerk.
Ordinances and Rules Committee recommends that the resolution concerning aiding restaurants and small businesses be placed on file without prejudice.
Council McLaughlin moves the action committee. The action of the council. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose or object? Matter is approved and filed without prejudice.
Believe, Mr. President, that concludes committee reports unless the Assistant City Clerk, unless I missed something, but I.
Mr.
believe I got
President?
everything. Yes.
Council
Mr.
McLaughlin.
President, I believe there was one more. I may have missed it, but on the ordinance and rules docket matter from 2/24/20 resolutions on deadlines by Councilor O'Brien.
I believe we did file that.
Mr. Clerk, can you just check?
Clerk, can you verify that?
I'm looking. Ordinances and rules. The date was 2/24.
There were actually two from that date that we filed tonight.
Okay. The resolutions, deadline resolution and the recuse resolution were both voted on.
All right, thank you.
Placed on file. Is there another one?
Nope, that's,
Okay, we got it. We got them both, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
Thank you. So unless the other committee clerks alert me to something else, Mr. President, I think that concludes the committee reports. I think we got everything.
We come to the conclusion of the 2020 year of the Waltham City Council.
I have unfinished business, Mr. President.
Vice President McMenamin, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. So let's see if I can explain this to you in a timely fashion. Oops, I lost you. There we go. So I have two sets. I have two votes that I need here this evening, and I'm going to go to the second one first. It's easier, and then I'll go to the more difficult one after. So the first, first of all, I'm taking the open meeting law complaint dated 3/23/2020 on the docket from the tabled items in the full city council. I make that motion.
Sorry, can you restate that motion again? You want to take the matter dealing with
Take the open meeting law complaint, which is on the tabled item of the full city council docket, the last item from 3/23/20 docket, off the table.
on the motion, take the matter dealing with the open meeting violation off the table. On the motion, all in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object? Matter is before us.
So I'm going to read, I'm looking for a vote. You all received the executive session minutes dated May 21st, 2018 from our clerk. And I'm going to ask I'm going to name the people who can vote on this. I'm going to name the people. There are 9 of you who can vote on this, and I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the May 21st, 2018 regarding 554 Lexington Street of the Stigmatine property. These are the eligible voting members on our current city council who can vote to approve those minutes. They are Councilors Brasco, Darcy, Harris, LaCava, LeBlanc, McLaughlin, McMiniman, Stanley, and Vidal. Would one of you make a motion to approve the executive session minutes of May 21st, 2018?
So moved.
So moved.
Who was the first one who made that?
Council McLaughlin.
Councilor McLaughlin.
Councilor McLaughlin makes a
Councilor
motion.
McLaughlin makes the motion to approve those executive session minutes of May 21st, 2018. The clerk will call the roll of only those people who were present in that executive session, please.
I wasn't prepared for this. Could you tell me who those people are? I don't have any of this in front of me, so.
I'm sorry. The clerk should be Clerk Santafanti.
Oh, I'm sorry, Vice President McMiniman. We're back in committee?
No, we're
Okay.
really not in a committee. This is off on the full council, but is Clerk Santafanti available?
Clerk Sanafani wouldn't be able to call the roll. We're back in city council.
Sorry,
So
then I will.
Clerk Waddick has to call the roll.
I will give you the names. Brasco, Darcy,
Yes.
Harris, LaCava, LeBlanc, McLaughlin, McMiniman,
Slow down.
Stanley, and Vidal.
Okay, Brasco, Darcy, Harris, LaCava, LeBlanc,
McLaughlin.
McMiniman, Stanley, and Vidal.
Correct.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right. And you want a roll call on the approval of those minutes?
Councilor McLaughlin made a motion for approval of the minutes of the May 21st, 2018 executive session minutes regarding the matter of 554 Lexington Street.
So Vice President McMiniman.
Yes.
Councilor McLaughlin is going to make that motion?
Yes.
Okay. Because we're back in city council, so
Yes.
you have to have, all right. So Councilor McLaughlin makes that motion to approve the minutes. Will the
Right.
clerk call those that were present for the executive session minutes that are with regards to the open meeting law?
George A. Darcy III,
Yes.
Kathy Ann Harris,
Yes.
that's Joseph P. LaCava,
Yes.
Randall J. LeBlanc,
Yes.
John J. McLaughlin,
Yes.
Kathleen B. McMenamin,
Yes.
Thomas M. Stanley,
Yes.
Carlos A. Vidal,
Yes.
President Paul J. Brasco,
Yes.
9 in favor.
By your action, you have approved the minutes of those executive session minutes of the meeting of May 21st, 2018. Could I have a motion to?
Vice President McMillan,
Yes,
the matter is off the table, but it's before this full city council at this time. So it's not committee of the whole. So you can make these motions yourself through the chair.
thank you. Yes, you're right. Thank you very much for that. Yes. Thank you, President Brasco. So I make a motion that these minutes be sent to the law department for their review.
So Vice President McMillan makes a motion to forward these minutes to the law department for their review. On the motion, you're only asking of those that were in that executive session to approve the minutes, but the full city council can actually give the authority for those.
Correct.
On the motion, all in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object? That matter will be referred to the law department for their review. Council McMillan, you still have the floor.
I do, thank you. This is the very last matter, and I beg your indulgence. I worked on this today, so I'm going to ask the city clerk. I'll explain what I have to do here, and I'll actually, I will send you, if you wish, I will send you the language tomorrow, or I can type it up tonight and email it to you. So on April 4th, 2016, that was the very first executive session that we went into regarding the matter of 554 Lexington Street and the stigmatines. From that executive session, there are only 5 members left on the city council, and they are Councilors Darcy, McLaughlin, McMenamin, Vidal, and O'Brien. Councilors Vizard and Waddick are no longer on the council. And I think Councilor Brasco is absent. So we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 members. So I'm going to read to you the motion I'm going to make. And I think this will cover us based on, what I'm doing this is based on the order we were given by the attorney for the Attorney General's office, directing us in language that says, you will do this. So I think we are clear here by my motion. So I will make the motion and then I will move for this. So I'm going to move approval from only those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 members. I'm going to, this is my motion. I'm going to entertain, I am going to move that the minutes of April 4th, 2016 be approved unofficially due to lack of duly elected members present at the executive session who are no longer on the Waltham City Council. So I'm going to make that motion, and if the city clerk wishes me to type it and send it, I will do that, but it may be tomorrow morning. And
If I have most of it, Counselor. If you just repeat it, I can get the rest of it.
of course, thank you. And this will take care of this matter. So I have moved that the minutes of April 4th, 2016 be approved unofficially.
I have that due to the lack of
Duly elected members present at the executive session no longer present on the Waltham City Council.
Okay, let me read it back to you. Okay, the motion is the executive session minutes of April 4th, 2016 be approved unofficially due to the lack of duly elected members present at the executive session, no longer present on the Waltham City Council.
That's it.
Okay,
And the 5 members that can vote on this are Darcy, McLaughlin, McMiniman, Vidal, and O'Brien.
is that part of the motion?
Yes.
Okay,
On the
Darcy?
motion,
On the
on the
motion.
motion, I have 3 speakers, I believe, that raised their hand. So first, Councilor Darcy.
Thank you. I just have a question to either the vice president or the city clerk. Does the rule of necessity kick in because we don't have enough people to vote on this matter?
I don't know the answer to that question without researching it. It's a good question, Counselor. I frankly, I would not want to give an off the cuff opinion. It's really a legal question, but that's something that I think we could look at.
And I'm fine to go with the unofficial vote as the vice president has recommended, but I just draw that to your attention that there is that rule of necessity. Thank you very much. I intend to vote yes.
Councilor Darcy, I do agree with you. Though I cannot vote on this, I would agree that this is a necessity. That being said, Councilor McLaughlin's next on my list.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to echo Councilor Darcy took the words out of my mouth. So I believe, my understanding, the rule of necessity would kick in at this point. But if we can just move ahead with the dean's motion, and then obviously the clerk will have the opportunity to look into this. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor McLaughlin. Further speakers? There being no-
I'm going to speak on excuse me, I'm going to speak on that, on the issue. I don't know the answer to your question, Councilor Darcy. I'm not an attorney. But based on prior explanations given to the Waltham City Council from our law department regarding remaining in conformity with the open meeting law, this is an OML matter. The executive session minutes is a matter of open meeting law and what we did and didn't do and what we can and cannot do. The issue I do know is that we have been told that only councilors who were at that meeting have the right to vote on the minutes of that meeting. So the issue becomes, under the rule of necessity, the question would then become, would the other members of the city council have to have the minutes of the meeting given to them, and would they have the right to receive those minutes having not been present at the executive session on April 4th, 2016. It's a technical question. If you wish to firm that up in whatever way you want to ask it, I'll be happy to entertain that. But then I think we would have to table this matter. And the issue is that the Attorney General has basically said, release the minutes of the meeting, period. So I'm going on that order that the Attorney General's attorney gave us, but I'll be happy to entertain any possibility that you think might work differently.
Okay, Councilor Darcy, second time around.
Yeah, I'm fine to take the vote because of the wording that was given to us that we must vote. And then perhaps we can look into this matter at a future meeting.
I might, through you, Mr. Chair, if I may, the one thing I might say to you is if we take the vote to approve the minutes unofficially and then send them to the law department just for their review, who will then return it to us, we probably won't get them until mid-January anyway. If you wish to draw up a request to send to the law department in addition to this, that may work.
Okay, I will do that. I will make a request. And if you would like me to do it now or to wait till the vote.
We'll wait till the vote, Councilor Darcy, and then I'll come back to you. Councilor McLaughlin, second time around.
Yeah, I'm just giving this more thought. We have a spotlight on this already, and I think that it's important that we do it the right way. I just pulled some old notes, and I have a note here that at one point, Attorney Azadi addressed this rule of necessity for us. I don't have notes other than that, but it may be wise for us to reach out to her and just get some guidance. Just a thought. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor McLaughlin. On the motion by Councilor Vice President McMenamin to approve of the minutes,
To approve unofficially.
the unofficial minutes of the executive session. Councilor, you're asking for those members that are currently on the city council to approve of those minutes. Then Councilor Darcy is going to make a motion to request those minutes be sent to the law department. For them to apply. Okay, clerk, call the roll.
Is this all of the city councilors, Mr. President, or just the 5 councilors who were
Just the
mentioned?
5. That's why this is
The
unofficial.
5.
Just the 5. All right. George A. Darcy III.
Yes.
John J. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Kathleen B. McMenamin.
Yes.
Patrick J. O'Brien.
Yes.
Carlos A. Vidal.
Yes.
5 in favor.
Okay, Councilor Darcy, you make a motion, or your request is.
Yeah, I request the law department opine on the statement. Does the rule of necessity apply when the city council only has 5 members able to vote to approve prior executive session minutes?
You've all heard a sense of request. On the request, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose or object? The request is approved. If you just provide that again, Councilor Darcy, just in writing to the clerk's office so they can supply that to the.
And I will make a motion
Councilor McMenamin makes a motion.
to send these minutes to the law department for their review.
On the motion, to refer this matter to the law department for their review. On the motion, all in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or
Aye.
object? The matter is referred to the.
And now I'd like to lay the open meeting law complaint back on the table to then be rolled over to next year.
Okay, a motion is a table, non-debatable. On the motion table, all in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or
Aye.
object? All right, that being said, Councilor Vice President McMenamin makes a motion that all matters laid on the docket or on the current city council docket be rolled over to the Waltham City Council for the year 2021. On the motion to roll all matters over to the city council docket of 2021. All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose or object? There being none. If I could just have this moment, I'm not sure if there's any other councilors at this moment that want to take any further matters before the city council. I personally just want to take this opportunity to thank City Clerk Waddick, Assistant City Clerk Mazad, Carol Rooney Wilson, Mr. Santafanti, Mr. Magno, and all the staff who assisted the city council throughout this difficult and challenging year. Your hard work to the city councils and citizens of Waltham did not go unnoticed and will never, ever be forgotten. To my colleagues, your dedication, commitment, and adjustments over this past year also did not go unnoticed. The city of Waltham is a better place because of all of you. I can assure you of that. This was the craziest year of my life, and I'm sure for many of you, but we overcame many obstacles and challenges. Citizens of Waltham, I'm sure, appreciate all of your hard work and your dedication to the city. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve as your president, and I'm always humbled by the trust and the confidence you have placed in me to represent this esteemed body. I will always be forever grateful. I wish all of you a safe, happy, and especially healthy New Year. That being said, I'll entertain any motion by any counselor at this time.
Motion to adjourn by Durkee.
Please. That's my favorite motion of all. Councilor Durkee makes a motion to adjourn. On the motion to adjourn, the Waltham City Council for the year 2020 by Councilor Durkee. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose or object? There being none, the Waltham City Council stands in adjournment at 11:14 p.m. December 28th, 2020. Thank you all.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's.